Hey, in the immortal words of Judy Brown, happiness is a choice. We're happy you're spending some time with us, Chip and Zay. Happy New Year, everyone. We're back in 2026. We got all kinds of things to get caught up on, including my Twitter getting hacked. Now I got dudes on my timeline posting about crypto. I am in a email extravaganza with X trying to get that account back. It's been a rough start to the new year for the old Chipsta, but
Yeah,
you know that's how it goes. Someone sent me a link, and hey, I need your help. Vote for me. And I was
it looked legit.
it looked legit. I
It looked
clicked on
legit.
it, and doom. So don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe in the old Twitter DMs. If someone's asking you to click on something in your Twitter DMs, do not do it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Because
Don't do it.
Lee Sterling, he sent me something similar months ago. I looked at it and I was like, nah, this seems fishy. I didn't click on it. And it was the
Good.
exact same message you sent me. Well, whoever from your Twitter account.
Yeah, whoever the hacker is.
Yeah. But they on the run right now. And it could have been anyone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough. Yeah, new Cadillac.
Oh my God. So I'm hoping I am close to resolution here. But Zay, how you doing, man? How's your new year?
Not too shabby, man. Not too shabby. Feeling good, feeling great. Would ask how you are, but we already know. But
Yeah,
man. A lot of basketball over the weekend. Some good, some bad.
a lot of basketball. We're in the portal. What? 2, 3, 4 days in?
Yeah.
And
I
I
guess
know it's
the Isaac Brown thing didn't work out, huh? What happened there?
I mean, I think this is this is not going to be the last time this happens, where a kid says he's going into the portal and then his school hustles and does whatever it can to keep him. So the kid doesn't end up going into the portal. And this is the way of the world. You always wanted to have guys come in for visits and make sure you get them committed before they leave. Well, the agents, if you're a high demand player and portal recruiting is already speed dating, you need to, your agent is saying, look, you got the leverage. It's not going to hurt you to take all these visits, hear what everyone has to say. You can use one offer against the other. So it's tricky, man. It's tricky. And, then you had the Parker Livingston, his post on social media. He says, it was out of my control. Some things are out of your control. And I think,
what's that mean?
Right after that, you were hearing dollar figures for Cam Coleman. It sounded like they were clearing cap space for Cam Coleman, which you can't be doing that. Like the genius of what Sarkisian has done up to this point is like what he did with Emmett Mosley. You recruited him out of high school. He tore up his knee. He goes to Stanford. He looks good. You go back to him and you say, hey, let's do this. If you're trying to get in on the guy that everyone wants, you're going to pay a crazy premium. You've got Ryan Wingo. You've got Mosley. You've got, Dalen McCutcheon and Khalil Lockett. And so, what is that, a want or a need or a luxury? Like, to me, the needs are linebacker and offensive line. those are the guys that I'm like, okay, how's that looking? And, Texas has got some interest in these Michigan offensive linemen, Andrew Sprague and Jake Guarnera, who I like both of those dudes. And if Texas can reel those dudes in, okay. Robert Woodyard at Auburn, that didn't work because his academics were not where Texas needed them to be.
Academics?
I know.
What are we talking about? Academics?
I'm sure Steve Sarkisian said the same thing.
Y'all bugging, man. I'm not trying to get them into the McCombs Business School. They got to be something for them. Let them take a test, something.
Well, he would have had to take a bunch of summer school, and
so what's wrong with summer school?
He's looking around. Who knows? He hasn't signed anywhere yet.
Man,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, come on, y'all.
Hey, man, we're not here to play no school.
We ain't here to play no type of school. Get the kid a fine ass Halle Berry like tutor, like on the program. Make sure he's locked in. Yeah, make sure he's locked in. Summer school, a breeze. It's a breeze. Come on, man. I can't believe that. That shouldn't even be a thing. Can't get him in. Did he play? They're acting like he flunked out.
No, he played.
That's what I'm saying. The dude, is Auburn that easy? It can't be. I get Texas is top of the line.
I don't know. I'm not in the class. I don't know what's going on other than what.
That's wild, man.
I heard from a source close to Woodyard. So, yeah. Yeah. So it's, and everyone's like, okay, well, what's Jaden Baugh doing? Jaden Baugh, I've said, no news is good news from Jaden Baugh. Because if he wanted to stay at Florida, he could just tell him I'm staying. But he has not said that yet. So, look, it's crazy out there, and everybody's trying to figure out how to navigate this house settlement, the $20.5 million, which equates to around $13.5 million for football. It's a Wild West. There's no doubt about it. And I tend to, Sark brought it up the other day saying at the Citrus Bowl press conference, is everyone adhering to the rules? Because Lane Kiffin came out at SEC Media Days and said, I think people are just doing things the way they've always done them, thinking that the system's going to collapse, which, did not make the conference commissioners happy, but it's wild. It's wild out there. They wildin'. So
yeah, see, it's appropriate to say they wildin' instead of they wildin' with what's going on in the transfer portal and stuff. Because breaking news, see, Contrarian Wisner's committed to Florida State, so good for him. I'm sure Tallahassee's gonna definitely welcome that dude in open arms because that guy's an absolute baller, and I wish him the best. Numbers just didn't fit right for him to stay at Texas. It is what it is. Seeing DeAndre Moore flirting around, he took pictures with, all this Kentucky gear, which was a fly jacket. They put him in one of those old school, 90s looking starter jackets. It was black and blue and stuff. It was fly. I can't even front. That was one of those ones where, man, it's Kentucky. They could care less about football. They pretend like they do just because they in the SEC, so they have to, but they care about what Mark Pope has got going on with the basketball team. But nonetheless, DeAndre Moore, he did look sad in them pictures. CB, he did. He was in Ohio State, and he took a picture for his Instagram, and he took a picture of the national championship trophy last year at Ohio State, and he put the crying emojis because I think he was just saying, damn, we were this close to being that team. that ended up losing to Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl just a year ago. So it is tough seeing these guys flirt around. And, you mentioned Parker Livingston, and just that situation's very odd, because you would think with his relationship with Arch Manning, I'm sure Arch Manning feels a certain way about Parker Livingston entering the transfer portal and stuff, and the whole Cam Coleman thing. Cam Coleman, he like Pac. He gonna get around. It is what it is. I'd get around too. Like you mentioned it. That's what these agents want from these guys. You gotta flirt. You just can't stop at Texas and that be the first stop and say I committed. No, you gotta flirt around. So I can't knock him for doing that. But man, he's asking for a buku load of money. Where is it worth that? Because I'm right there with you. Let's fix the offensive line that sucked. That was horrible at times. Other than Trevor Gooseby and at times Brendan Baker, horrible. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Fix that first. Everything else, the linebacker room, fix that too. That's where I'm confused about. We can't get the kid in. Like, we'll give you easy-ass classes, son. We'll give you the best tutor. We can't find the best tutor in the ATX somewhere. I could walk down the street.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's that he can't handle the classes. I think it's just that, Texas has requirements and progress towards degree, all that. I didn't even know people paid attention to that anymore.
But now they do all of a sudden. That now when it comes to Texas, now we're paying attention to those things. Because I know LSU and Ohio State could give a damn about those things. So I'm confused why Texas does. Now we're doing that? That's what I'm saying, man. Sometimes I just don't understand what's going on in the city. I don't. Because I'm over here like we're going all in, and then I hear stuff like that. That's not all in to me. All in to me is doing whatever it takes to get that guy in and put him on the right path to whatever the hell they're talking about on, his degrees and all that stuff and transferring classes. Do whatever it takes, man. Like, and again, he might be flirting around too. He might be flirting around and it could come back.
Yeah, he might be seeing what's out there and where he doesn't have to make up these credits or whatever. Yeah. Or he may decide, although I'm not sure that's going to happen, so I don't want to put that out there. It sounded pretty like, what?
I can't believe that. That grinds my gears a little bit, because these other schools that you're competing with could care less. And I understand Texas, there's a different standard. Like when you get that degree from the 40 acres, everybody puts it on their wall. You can't tell no Texas grad, wherever they're working, wherever they live in, that degree, it's going to be somewhere where you can see it. And they should be proud because they worked hard to get that. I understand what comes with that. But that's no Southern New Hampshire University. You know what I mean? Yeah, but also we trying to win football games here, man. Like this is football we're talking about. Like, you telling me Ray Lewis was a 4.0 student? Get the hell out of here, man. Come on, man. How bad you want it?
Dexter Manley said he couldn't even read when he left Oklahoma State. No shade to Oak State. I'm just telling you what he said. But
see, I want that. I want that.
So he's like, put that bar so low. Put that bar on the floor. Just lay it down on the floor. Let him hop over that.
Yeah, man. Come on. There's some, you just got to work with. That's okay. Like, some you just got to put some extra. Make sure they have extra help, extra attention.
Extra. The Halle Berry. I know your formula.
Yeah, Halle Berry. Fine in that movie. I don't know how my man Omar Epps can focus.
Oh, man.
Like, come on. There's someone. Yeah, like I was saying, I could walk down the street. We both live Northwest Austin. I could walk down the street and find a tutor right now where we stay. And that tutor go in, and he can help my man from Auburn. We get him on the right path, come back, first, second team, all SEC, everybody wins. Can't get the guy in. What are we doing? But I'll tell you what, the Ian Gaffard kid from Arkansas, that was a good pickup.
And people are looking at his weight, 387, saying, what? We got a fat guy. No, this guy played 483 snaps. Like, that would have been second most on the Texas team, or 438, I guess I should say. That would have been second most to Hero Canoe. Canoe played 476. No, Gaffrard played 463 and had a higher overall, PFF ranking than any of the top 5 defensive tackles who played for Texas this year. So that's exactly what Muschamp wants. He wants massive 2-gap guys who can stuff the run. He wants to be able to play over the center and in 2-gap, be responsible for both A-gaps by just throwing the center to either side, and a guy who just commands that double team. So I like that pickup. They got their specialists. They got their kicker, their punter, their long snapper. And, people are like, oh, this, that. Hey, the kid from Florida State averaged 44 yards a punt. That's what Bo Meester averaged. That's good. That works. And Spedic, the Gianni Spedic. These guys got some crazy names. Gianni Spedic from Memphis. He was 4 of 5 on field goals, 50 plus. And, that's what you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Shipley didn't get put in any tough situations, in my opinion. He did what he had to do.
Well, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 53-yarder there, and he had to hit the 45-yarder in overtime to win it, which he did. So,
Yeah, but if you have to win on kicking against Kentucky, that shows the kind of.
I'm just saying he did it.
Yeah, you're right.
The road, when he had to deliver, he delivered.
You're right.
So
Auburn's still playing. Auburn's still playing.
Why do I think that all the shenanigans or whatever, the muckety muck between Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss and whether these coaches should still be coaching Ole Miss is going to be a distraction? Although I thought Trinidad, who's your Trinidaddy, Chambliss, was so good for Ole Miss in that game. I was like, that dude just needs to turn pro now. He looks like a number 1 pick. He's throwing from the pocket. He's throwing on the run. He's that dude. I want to pick Ole Miss to beat Miami, but I don't know. Miami's kind of the us against the world team now. Whereas, I don't know what's going on at Ole Miss. I do know that Pete Golding is 2-0 in college football playoff games.
Hey, he's doing his thing. And they're keeping Charlie Weiss Jr. around, like all those other coaches that are starting to make their way to Baton Rouge. Charlie Weiss Jr. staying with the team, which, I told Sean Redfern last week, shout out to Sean filling in for you on Friday, but I told him, if I'm Charlie Weiss Jr., why would you put yourself in that Eric Bieniemy territory, kind of like how he was with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and then he couldn't get the job later on because anytime anyone got the credit, it went to those two. Feel like that's the same with Lane Kiffin, and you don't even hear about Charlie Weiss Jr. Now Weiss Jr. able to call the plays, even though it's Lane Kiffin's players, and Trinidad Chambliss is making him look like a genius out there. And a lot of it, Trinidad Chambliss just outside playing backyard sandlot football, which I love that about him. To do that against Georgia, man, people don't play backyard sandlot type football against Georgia because Kirby and those guys, they just don't allow that. And they have the dogs, no pun intended, to get after quarterbacks when they do that stuff that no one would teach the quarterback position. This dude's running backwards, and he's so herky-jerky, and it puts the defense in a loop. And he's accurate, and he's smart. He's not turning the ball over, even though he's doing very risky things. He's a joy to watch, man. Like, I love the way, even though I don't like how the committee set up the college football playoff, how it's played to this point. I'm good with Oregon versus Indiana. I'm good with Miami versus Ole Miss. Like, again, I'm good with the chalk being out right now. If Texas ain't in it, then I ain't trying to see Ohio State. I ain't trying to see Bama. You know what I'm saying? I'm not.
Texas Tech.
Yeah, Texas Tech. I'm glad they got blown out. The hate watch was been complete. OU and A&M, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Oh, yeah, but Texas, they played for nothing in the Cheez-It Bowl. Hey, here's what it is.
Hey, that game, that Michigan, that Texas-Michigan game was entertaining.
It was fun.
It was back. Those two teams, I say that. The Rose Bowl back in 2004 was wildly entertaining. That had like 4 or 5 lead changes, just like this one, 3 ties. Yeah, I liked how physical Texas played in that game, especially defensively. Guys like Warren Roberson and Ty Anthony Smith. My God, Jelani McDonald was trying to turn people's lights out. I thought that tight end from Michigan, I'm glad he could walk off the field because he took a hit earlier from Jelani. Then he took one from Ty Anthony. And it was like that guy didn't know where he was. So I thought that Citrus Bowl was a game you're like, okay, damn. These guys been waiting their turn. Bo Barnes running the alley to get that sack, came from 15 yards away. Bryce Underwood saw him and was like, damn, you're getting here awfully fast. Wow. I like Bo Barnes.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, seeing all those young bucks step up and perform, ain't no way them 15 practices made that much of a difference. I know it makes a difference. I understand that, especially with the time that you're putting into those guys that are now here instead of those guys that are gone who were getting all the minutes before. But why ain't Warren Roberson playing? Like, Jalen Gilbo wasn't hitting like that at all this season. He wasn't doing nothing like what I saw Warren Roberson do against Michigan.
Right.
Cade Phillips deserved more reps than a lot of guys, especially Jalen Gilbo. And we saw that later in the season. But I don't know. I get guys develop faster than others. But I thought just coming out from that Cheez-It Bowl, some of these guys should have been playing a long time ago. And I don't know if, again, it was those 15 practices where they were able to showcase their talents, or it was just
knowing that they're the guy.
Right.
Which can make a difference. You know, when the guy's not looking over his shoulder or worried about getting yanked and it's his turn. Yeah, I thought Warren Roberson was really good in that game. Kobe Black got hurt. Cade Phillips got more physical as the game went on. He had a couple of bad missed tackles. One led to a 33-yard gain. The other one was on the next play, led to a touchdown. But then he got through traffic and made the play on the exact same receiver screen that they ran for the touchdown. And he made the play in the second half. So you like that. And you know, Jelani McDonald, my God, that guy. And he's just low key. But man, he talks with his football, and it is loud and clear and fun to watch.
He's quietly a fun personality that I'm excited to see his leadership take over next year, especially under Will Muschamp. You know, with Michael Taft and Malik Muhammad going off to the NFL, it's his secondary, in my opinion.
For sure.
Like, he's the one that everybody's going to look to, hey, man, you got all the leadership in this room. You got all the respect. Everybody, like, Bucky Taft's gone. He ain't walking through that door no more. This is your secondary now. So what you going to do with
he had a funny answer about that. You know, the first day of Citrus Bowl practice, you know, he's like, those are my shoes now. You know, I'm ready to step in them. I mean, he was not shy. He's got confidence, and he should.
Yeah.
He sees the field. he's a dog, and that's what they need.
Yeah.
They need more. Need more of that. Jonah.
Man, he puts his body on the line, which that's what you want. There's only one way to play football, but also he's one of those dudes where you're like, all right, gotta keep on getting up, bro, because you are sacrificing the hell out of your body. I hope he's doing the right, things to just keep his body good throughout the season, whether it's getting sleep, treatment, cold tub, whatever you have to do to stay as 100% as possible. He needs to do that because the way that he plays, they need all of that and then some. Going to a 9-team SEC schedule, man. 8 straight games. No bye, no rest. No, not just 8 straight. I can't. Y'all gonna hear that a lot. Y'all gonna get tired of me saying that because I still can't believe it. Until I see it, I cannot believe that's a thing. Like, I feel like it's still a typo. I feel like Greg Sankey's going to come out and be like, yo, we were playing. Why didn't nobody tell us that this was insane? Because has that ever happened? Has anyone ever had 8 straight SEC games?
I don't know. And I asked the SEC, I'm like, where'd that second bye week go? And they go, that only happens twice every 6 years because of the way the calendar falls. So I'm like, what? So it only happens when you have 5 Saturdays in November, like we had in 2025? I mean, isn't there a way? I mean, get rid of one of these non-conference games. Turn that into a bye. We don't need 3. If you want to have a marquee non-conference, great. Have another soft bye game. You don't need 2 bye games. Get rid of one of those non-conference. Go back to 11. I know people are going to go, oh, TV money. Okay, there's more money coming from the playoff. Like, you can look out for the players and put in a second bye week.
Players? Look out for the players. Why
they're getting paid.
Do that?
They don't have it. They're fine. They're fine.
Even though they're our product, they're good. They're young. Oh, they're young. Screw it.
They're getting rich.
And we can't get my man in the school. We can't even get him in the school. So, they still got to do that, apparently. That's what y'all are telling me. We can't get him in the school. So they still got that. And now we talking about 8 straight games, all SEC. It's wild stuff. It's wild stuff.
Wild stuff.
So that's what makes me nervous. Like, where is Jelani McDonald's body going to be once November comes around when it's winning time? Because, God, that's a lot. That's a lot. And this coaching staff's job to figure it out. Like, hopefully you could play as many bodies as possible to where what I'm saying is irrelevant. But realistically, you need your best guys on the field most of the time. Because that other team on the other side, that's also an SEC team, gonna have their best guys on the field. So that's why this portal is huge for Texas, man. Their evaluation, the guys that they're keeping, guys that they're letting go, like Travian Wisener would have been real useful, with something like that. But now he's off to Tallahassee. He gonna kill the ACC. Ooh, when they play your Mustangs. Ooh, that's going to be brutal. The Travian Wisener is going to kill that league. And I hope he does. I can't wait to see it. It's going to sting. It's going to hurt to see. But that dude, he deserves it, man. Love that guy. What he put in for Texas, that's why it hurts so much. But, he going to kill.
You've lost them culture dudes. You lost Wisener, DeAndre Moore. Parker was a culture guy. Hell, he was Arch's roommate. But he apparently wanted to go to OU, but they didn't offer him out of high school. So he's visiting Indiana and OU. That's not bad.
Kurt Signetti, with his petty ass, he make Parker Livingston a first-round pick.
I mean, Parker scored 6 touchdowns. I get it. The agent can say, who else for you scored 6 touchdowns. Ryan Wingo. Oh, okay. Who else? So, it's a business. And I know fans don't want to hear that. And it's like, oh boy, we are in the Wild West. I mean, you're Nick Saban over the weekend saying, yeah, we need Congress. We need Congress to pass a law so that we have one set of rules for college football and not 23 different state laws regulating it, because, I'd love to pour truth serum in all the schools and see who's adhering to the House settlement cap.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. You see Texas Tech bringing that 7-foot girl from overseas.
Yeah, and they signed Brennan Sorsby, or they got a commitment from Brennan Sorsby, the top quarterback in the
$5 million, apparently.
What now?
Sorsby's getting like $5 million allegedly. Come on, man.
Like if they sign a couple of dudes like that, then you're gonna have to do some investigating. I mean, kind of like if Texas were to sign Cam Coleman and Jaden Baugh, but even that would not total. It shouldn't. It should not total $5 million. Like, let's not get crazy here.
You talking about Ball and Coleman together?
Yeah, I mean, look, I know other agents of receivers put that out that Coleman wanted $4 million. I've heard $2 million. Now, they can say $4 million. The schools are going to go, yeah, no. So, that to me sounded like justification for, Parker Livingston to say, hey, I'm up and out. But if Texas spends $4 million on Cam Coleman, they're idiots. They're idiots because there are other good receivers out there. I mean, really good receivers who, some of them aren't in the portal, but some of them are thinking about getting in the portal. And we'll see how this goes. I mean, not everyone's in the portal, and it's day 4. But it is wild. It's wild out there.
Yeah, if Cam Coleman gets $4 million, I need him to stay for 2 years. I need him to help with the community.
Right. And he's draft eligible after next season.
Yeah, he gone.
Okay. You're going to spend $2 million on one guy?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, and I saw somebody say on our comment section that Arch didn't fight for Livingston. We don't know that. And there's a lot that's out of Arch's hands, man. Like, I'm sure Arch wanted to keep him around, but also him being a good friend, he knows that Parker Livingston has to do what's best for himself and his family. And if the numbers and whatever promises that Texas was making didn't add up to what Parker Livingston believed in, I get why he's in the portal and just everything that, goes around it. Like, I was talking about with Sean Redfern. So let's say Cam Coleman does go to Texas, whatever number he gets, let's say he goes. He's wide receiver 1. Wingo's wide receiver 2. You got Emmett Mosley. I'm sure he's wide receiver 3. You're number 4 on that list, Parker, which Sark don't play 4 wide receivers very often. Usually has a tight end in there. So what would that mean? And not to mention Khalid Lockett, Jamie French, all them other dudes, Dalen McCutcheon, that are waiting.
Well, did you see it was Lockett who started in the Citrus Bowl? Parker came off the bench.
What? Really?
Yeah. I mean, you had Wingo, you had Mosley, and you had Lockett. Now, Parker played. Let me look at the snaps, but
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And, Parker Livingston, he was good to start the year. Once SEC play got in the thick of things, he wore down a little bit.
Had a couple
drops. He's getting lit up. He's a little light. He's tall. Got, good catch radius, but whole point of having good catch radius is you got to bring it in. And his hands would get on the ball, but certain contact will knock that ball free. And there's just some guys that you got to make that catch. So, yeah, I believe in Parker Livingston. I wanted him to come back. I wanted all those guys, DeAndre Moore to come back. Like, I thought another year with Chris Jackson, another year with Arch Manning, an actual healthy offensive line, and Steve Sarkisian playing into the personnel that he has instead of the personnel that he wants, like he did earlier in the season when he was sitting guys 15 yards down the field and the offensive line couldn't hold up. That's on Sark. That's on Sark. That's not on Parker. It's not on like the play. Sark has to read the room. Oklahoma, he read the room. He got it. He realized, oh, quick stuff. Arch Manning catch, bam, barely even get the thing on the laces, get it out of the hands. But once we get into 3 seconds of him holding the ball, we saw what happened. So
my bad. It was Dalen McCutcheon who started.
Damn, he had a rough one.
Yeah.
He had a rough one.
Yeah. Parker, he did not start, but he ended up playing 50 snaps in that game. Dalen McCutcheon started. He played 47 snaps. Emmett Mosley started. He only played 26 because he got hurt. And Ryan Wingo played 38, and then he got hurt. So might have been a turf toe with Ryan Wingo.
Parker couldn't catch HIV if he tried. What's the matter with y'all, man? He's only a freshman. He has 3 more years of eligibility left. Come on, man. Come on. Like, he showed flashes. He really did. He showed flashes of being a good player. He's not perfect. I'm not saying he's freaking 2018, 2019 Cooper Kupp or anything, but there were times where him and Arch Manning, they had that roommate thing going on. And as the season went on, his body it's tough. It was tough, but yeah, I didn't expect that. I'm not going to lie. Parker Livingston, I'm still trying to process him being gone because you thought he was one of those lifers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Texas Tech is trying to get in on Cam Coleman.
No, duh. You knew they would. Cody Campbell, them boys greedy. I can't believe they found that sister from wherever the hell she's from. She's from one of the islands. She's 7 foot. She's straight up 7 foot. Like, where are y'all? How are y'all finding these players everywhere? And you know, she put a dent in that in that bank.
Where did she come from?
Where did she come from?
Is she a transfer?
Yes, she's one of those mid-season transfers. Texas Tech women's basketball. Yeah, Stephanie Okechukwu. I probably botched the name. My bad, Stephanie. 7'1" from Nigeria.
Wow.
7'1" woman. 7'1" woman.
And she's playing right now?
I haven't seen her play yet, but she's in Lubbock.
Okay.
She's in Lubbock. Yeah. They welcomed her with open arms and stuff. They had a big party for her. Once she got off the plane, the team met her there. And they're 16-0, by the way. Tech's good. Tech's a problem this year. They're quietly dominating women's college basketball. They have not lost a game. And she hasn't played a second. So now an undefeated team adds a 7-footer. I don't care what she can do or what she can't do. She's 7 foot. Just going in the paint and her just standing there like this. You're going to throw up some crazy stuff.
He's Manute Bowl.
Yeah, you can't see the rim. Like, that's Tech's. They're just doing things different, man. I'm with you. Investigate Tech. We need somebody down there in Lubbock, the feds, somebody. We need somebody on undercover. Like the wire stuff. Like, we need something going on because this is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, ay. Well, I think you look at this, and here's what when it comes to football, I find myself saying more and more, what would Curt Cignetti do, right? Because he's doing a great job of evaluating talent, finding finding guys. He went 11-1 last year with mostly James Madison guys. Then he goes and finds Fernando Mendoza. And now he's reportedly looking at guys like Josh Hoover and whatever. But now, and I feel like that's how Sark was approaching it until this portal season when, suddenly Cam Coleman and stuff. So listen, you just got to find guys who, what Sark said, you got to find guys who fit your culture. And right now, Kurt Cignetti has guys who want to come be part of a close-knit team that contends for championships. Well, that's what Sark was preaching. And, the Cam Coleman thing, I have mixed feelings about because that seems like a luxury to me. Like, go get your best offensive lineman that you think can fix that problem so that Arch Manning can throw it to whoever you have at receiver, and then make sure you got linebacker covered. And one more big defensive tackle. A lot of people are looking at Zion Williams from LSU. Okay. If it's him, great. I think Will Muschamp's going to get what he wants. Because he can connect with guys and help them get where they want to go. Zion Williams, 6'4", 360. That's the kind of player that, Muschamp's looking for. That big two-gap run stuffer. So that his, he's going to be playing a lot of three-man front. He's going to mix fronts. He's going to confuse. That's what he wants to do. He wants to confuse you. He's going to stem. He's going to show blitz and then back out of it. He's going to, look like he's in zone, and then he's going to bring guys from everywhere. Like, his stuff is creative and meant to confuse, and he needs guys who are on the attack at all times. And it starts with having at least one behemoth on the field at all times to hold the point of attack, to be the Casey Hampton, the Sean Rogers of that line. So he's got guys who fit. He's got, Justice Terry, Lance Jackson. Those guys can play strong side defensive end. They can play the 4-eye. He's got guys. He's got Colin Simmons, Zena Umazulu posted that he's coming back. So even though his older brother Neto is in the portal, Zena's not going anywhere. So,
yeah.
And look, the biggest priorities, Jelani McDonald, Trevor Gooseby. You're good. You're good. Now I'm hearing that they're, maybe telling Brandon Baker, hey, we might move you inside depending on what we get at tackle. Like this Andrew Sprague from Michigan, who's played right tackle. He's 6'8". I don't know how Brandon Baker's agent feels about that, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So,
yeah. Besides Trevor Gooseby, everybody else on that offensive line replaceable. Sorry.
Yeah. Goosby's the man, and that's he hasn't announced it yet, but there are indications around Gooseby that he wants to get another year of experience. He wants to try and elevate himself into a high first round pick like Kelvin Banks did. And the more experience you have as an offensive tackle, the more the NFL is like, okay, we know what you can do. We're ready to spend good money on you. And, Gooseby is a guy who got thrown into the fire against A&M last year, then had to flip from left tackle to right tackle when Cam Williams got hurt. So he's playing against Clemson, and he played against Georgia at left tackle. He played against Clemson and Arizona State at right tackle.
Yeah.
And held up. Didn't allow a sack any of those games. And now he knows, he's confident out there. He's seen it. Game slowed down for him. Yeah, that was huge. Jelani McDonald was huge. And, getting Hero Canoe back would be good. Alex January, all that. You've got some good dudes up front. And I think Connor Robertson's, I think he wants to come back, but he's waiting to see what Texas does in the portal. Make sure that, he's not coming back to just be a backup, because he's graduated,
Yeah.
So he can, he's kind of like taking the wait and see approach. So a lot of stuff still to be determined as we go through this portal process.
Yeah, so, you mentioned Curt Cignetti in Indiana, right? Besides Fernando Mendoza, how many guys do you think's averaging $1 million on that squad? Because I don't think any of them are.
Right.
And when I look at Steve Sarkisian, who's getting paid $12 million, whatever the hell he's getting paid, I expect for him to find somebody, majority diamonds in the rough. Maybe some guys, okay, no brainers. But if you're out here trying to pay Cam Coleman $2 million and you can't find a guy like what Indiana found in Surratt, somebody like that, who making six figures, but nothing in the mills.
Right.
You can't develop him and make it fit. That's what's confusing for me. That's what I have a hard time with, because what you're making, Sark, and what a lot of your coaches are making, you got to turn guys who are quote unquote 3 stars in the transfer portal that might not be the most popping player. Like, again, Lane Kiffin, say what you want about him, he found Trinidad Chambliss in D2.
Yep.
You just said that fool might be the number 1 pick. And hey, I ain't knocking it with what I saw against Georgia and New Orleans last week. So this coaching staff has to be better. They have to be better at evaluating guys and making it fit once they get them. Making sure they know what those guys that you brought in, what they do well, and you got to apply that. And yeah, it's hard, but again, you make it 10, 11, 12 million. Like, I'm not really trying to hear excuses with that. I've got much empathy for you with that. I just don't. I can't do it. I can't do it. My bones, they won't let me do that. So, yeah, Curt Cignetti, it's a bad example. Like if I'm Sark, I'm like, damn, how's Cignetti doing all this? Yeah, he making it look easy. Besides Fernando Mendoza, you cannot find me $1 million play on that team. They got 2 really good backs, man, that are tough. Fernando Mendoza threw the ball 16 times against Alabama. That's it. 16 times. I got Arch Manning bleeding against Michigan because he has to put the team on his back. Meanwhile, the Heisman Trophy winner just has to throw it 16 times to win by 30 in the college football playoff because the coaching and everybody else around them's that good. No excuses, Steven. No excuses. No excuses. Figure it out. It can be done on a level where I'm not saying Indiana's moneyballing it, but somebody needs to make a movie and put Jonah Hill and Brad Pitt in that with what Indiana's doing, because it's so impressive. It's so impressive what they've done.
I mean, Alabama fans are like, God, they look like us. They look like Alabama under Saban. And here's the thing. Cignetti's got his coaches who've been with him forever. They all know exactly what they want in recruiting, how they're going to coach guys. their process. They're very confident in their process. And yeah, it is a movie. I know Signetti said that, but it is. If they win it all, if they go undefeated and win it all, it is a damn movie. And like John McClane said, you can't call it Hoosiers. Maybe you call it Google Me. You know? I mean,
that's goes to my point. Sark can recruit those guys too. It's not like Texas is saying, "Hey, Steve, we don't want anybody over 22." That's not what's going on. Bring an old ass man in who can't be on his parents' health insurance and put him on the squad if he could play. Like, I don't. What we talking about, man? Come on, Steve. Come on, man. We got my man Pete Kwiatkowski about to take the Stanford job. That's down bad. I hope Pete Kwiatkowski doesn't take that. Wait around, Pete. You don't take that, man. You traveling to the East Coast, 3-hour time difference to get your head kicked in. I know Andrew Luck's cool. Andrew Luck, he's making it look fun. He's making Palo Alto look fun again. I can't even lie. But nah, Pete, you better than that, bro. You don't Stanford. Nah, don't see that. Then see how Sark was doing my man Pete Kwiatkowski in that presser. You know how I feel about that presser. He had him like I was babysitting him the whole time. Yeah, now that Will Muschamp here, he's a defensive head coach. I don't have to have the headset on. I can focus on the offense. That made Pete Kwiatkowski look so bad, and he didn't deserve that. And now Stanford, that's it? Like, what happened to the USC job?
Yeah, what happened to that?
What happened to that? My man, Lincoln Riley, did he hit Sark up and be like, damn, am I going to have to babysit Pete like that? Because that's what you said, Steve. You can't take it back now. That's what you said. You had to pay attention to the defense because it was such a liability. You couldn't focus on the offense. Lincoln don't want to do that. He don't want to do that. I'm telling you, man, I hate to see Pete Kwiatkowski go to Stanford. I would hate to see. And again, a gig's a gig. A lot of people would say that Stanford job is a huge opportunity. It's Stanford. They used to win a Directors Cup all the time before Texas started winning that thing, but they were playing ping pong and, riding scooters and stuff for some of them awards, but still, they used to win them. But Stanford and the ACC, and Pete Kwiatkowski, I put him on a way bigger pedestal of what Stanford is right now. So again, no diss to Stanford, but it is a diss to Stanford at this point. Like if Andrew Luck had to take over, they're clearly in desperate times. And I love Andrew Luck, but he shouldn't have this.
Kwiatkowski he's a different kind of personality. There's a reason he stayed his whole career up in the Pacific Northwest, where it's not as crazy as it is in the SEC. Now, if Lincoln Riley, wanted him to be the guy and was ready to throw the bank at him, because Pete Kwiatkowski's not really an LA guy, is what I'm trying to say. Austin was probably a little, but everyone loves Austin, Yeah, it was a little fast for him. But in Austin, you can go live in Bastrop and be like you're out in the country. You know what I mean? So it's it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Yeah, I see where Stanford.
Yeah, go out in Hutto popping now, but not crazy. It's not crazy. You can still be low key in Hutto. But it's popping now. Like, Pete Kwiatkowski. Sark did him wrong, man. I hope Sark apologized. I hope he called him and said something. I really do, because that was cold. That was cold.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the comments, and people are like, okay, where's the priorities here? Naaman says one stud receiver in the portal and ride with Lockett, French, and Jermaine Bishop. Yeah, I mean, to me, if you've got a great fit with a receiver who is a total stud, who wants to be at Texas with Arch Manning, great. If you're getting played that's going to cause ripple effect in the locker room. And that's where it already is. I mean, Parker Livingston up and out. So
And what do you say? My hands are tied.
he said, some things are out of your control.
Yeah, that's, man.
I mean, he made it sound like Texas was just like, yeah, don't even come to us looking for more NIL money. And
which Parker Livingston, to his credit, his NIL game was solid. Like, I saw him with Hat Creek Burger. I saw him with Whataburger. Like,
he was hustling.
He was hustling. Like, he's, attractive dude, got the country swag. Like,
He's got his brothers, the
his brothers, they got it going on. Like, yeah, Parker Livingston, it wasn't like NIL didn't play in his favor to a certain level, but hey, if he felt like his worth was more, then who am I to blame him for wanting that and thinking that?
Right. And it's, you said it. I mean, how many receivers is Sark really going to play? So
yeah, he just plays 3. That's it.
Yeah, 3,
won't change.
4, but not much.
Not much.
It's pretty much 3. Pretty much 3. And if he's got 2 really good tight ends, that's a lot of 2.
Yeah.
That's
not what you want to see. Like, if you're a wide receiver, these guys, they don't want to wait around. Like, they'd rather go to a team that's gonna be in the Mayo Bowl or something like that and get crazy numbers so the scouts see them instead of being on a team that might have a bigger chance of winning the national championship. That's what we keep going back to Kurt Signetti. Somehow he's finding guys that want both and making it work with both that could still get theirs and put up a lot of good film to where the scouts say, okay, and also play for national championships. And it's very balanced. Very balanced. So I just, the lack of resources that Indiana has compared to Texas, like, how much basketball money is Indiana taking up? Like, it's not even close to what Texas is getting. So,
I mean, Indiana benefits from that big old check they get from Big Ten football television revenue. And, some schools dip into that for other needs in the general campus fund. The football powers and the SEC take that money and reinvest it in athletics to make sure that they're getting players, the facilities are getting upgraded. I mean, Texas is just now going to be moving out of that bubble.
They need to pop that thing.
I mean, you see all these virtual tours of Texas Tech's facility where they've got walkthrough screens where they can simulate the other team's, offense and defense, and they can go in a room and do a walkthrough against actual images of the other team's offense or defense. I mean, that's where you got to be.
Yeah. Why did it take so long for them to start the facilities and stuff? Like, what was the priorities?
They had to get that property.
Okay.
It was a hassle. And there are still some people at the university that are like, in the end, that school of social work was so old. There was asbestos in there. Like, that ended up being a favor. And I know they're having to move to the old, business school on Speedway. But in the end, it's better. That building needed to come down, even though it's like a cherished older building on campus, whatever. It had asbestos in it. Like, what are you going to do?
See, man,
so they waited. So Texas waited, and that was all Hartzell and Del Conte making that happen. It was tough, but they got it. And then, as soon as they could tear that thing down, they did. And now this thing will open, probably in June. late June
of this year.
26. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They'll be practicing there instead of Denius for the 26 football season.
Okay, yeah. At least let Arch Manning play in it for a little bit. Damn. Wow. Okay. Yeah. See, that's what I mean. Like, where are our priorities, man? We can't get homeboy into school for football. We could cut a couple of corners. Other schools doing it. Why not? Why we got to be bigger than the other schools? Why we got to do things the right way? Alabama, I saw them fools that Nick Saban was getting. I saw those dudes, man. Those dudes, they don't know their nouns, their verbs. They don't know none of that stuff.
Dang.
They just came in to play football, then go to the league. That's it. Nick Saban.
You don't think they learned some nouns and verbs while they were?
Man, they don't know where to put commas, periods. They don't know none of that stuff. But hey, they know how to hit. They know how to catch. They run 4-3. Priorities here, y'all. Priorities. The facility's right. Hey, we need this for football. It's going to help us get in big-time recruits. Done and done. CDC and Hartzell, they got to pull arms and legs to get things popping around here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, we got our priorities. We got to get better. Because they say, don't tell me we're all serious about football and all this stuff. And then I see these other schools who are making these sacrifices, which they probably don't even consider sacrifices. They just probably think it's a part of the game. It's a part of it. While Texas is out here saying, oh, we want it so bad, but we still, we got to do things the right way. We got to focus on other things. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Let's get better. We got to get better. We got to change some things. And I appreciate what Hartzell and CDC have done. I do. They try their ass off. Those dudes and a whole bunch of people busting their ass, man. And I get sometimes there's just people in the way that, you got to go through them. But, hey, those people, they important folks too. So you got to be careful with how you approach it. But, man, Tuscaloosa, Baton Rouge, all these other cities that all they got is football. They put all their time, their investments into that. I need to see more of that around here. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. You ain't cheating, you ain't winning. See? Naaman gets it.
Well, all the misevaluations, whatever, the lack of ability to get the best five on the offensive line this year, that hurt Sark and his ability to say, you want to come and play in my offense. Now, he can point to Arch Manning and mask all of that, especially with the way Arch is playing over the last, 6 games. And he played great in the Citrus Bowl. But Sark's got to get that balance back. He's got to get that balance. And he had Bijan, he had Jonathan Brooks. Those guys were recruited before he got here. Rojo, he needs to find his Rojo and Bijan and make sure that, he's, finding these guys and not having to go money whip someone else. Because you're the offensive guy. You're supposed to know exactly what you're looking for, exactly who you want. And if that's not happening, then you got to question why and figure out, do I need some new guys in there evaluating talent? Because you can't be slipping. Not today.
Yeah. And apparently getting rid of Pete Kwiatkowski, they got rid of Kenodo Hudson, they got rid of Dwayne Akina, they got rid of Chad Scott. So obviously all those guys were holding you back. Bring in Muschamp, Blake Gideon, which I'm still confused on why he would come back. You're going to have to explain that to me, because I thought the whole point was to be the man. You're at Georgia Tech. I get it. It's Georgia Tech. It's Atlanta. That's definitely a change for a kid from Leander, Texas. But still, you're calling the shots. This is your side of the football, defensive coordinator. Isn't that what he wanted? Now you're coming back to Texas. Yeah, you have a bigger role than you did last time, but why would he do that, Chip?
Well, sometimes you got to look at your roster. And if you don't have the roster and you know it's going to be a rough year, it's kind of like when coaches pick a job. Does that team already have a quarterback? And look, they can pay him to where he's probably making more than what he was making as a DC at Georgia Tech. But, it's an interesting question. And he loves Muschamp. Muschamp has been in his corner. Muschamp coached him. And so, sometimes it's maybe, I don't know. Sometimes it just feels right. But it's a legit question. It'll be the first question he gets, Yeah. Okay, why? You just got a chance to run the defense. Now you're, and if he believes with Muschamp, we're going to have a championship defense and I want to help bring a national championship, whatever.
Yeah.
But
I mean, North Carolina State put up 48 on them. Pittsburgh put up 42. They held Georgia to 16 points, man.
Right.
So it wasn't like he was all that bad. Like, he had his moments, but also putting up 16 against Georgia. Hey, coach, can you give me 17? Like, what do you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're playing against Georgia here, rival game, and we're battling. We're in the game. So Muschamp, yeah, that's his boy. That's his guy. I get it. From the ATX. I'd always come back home if it made the most sense. But, yeah, I see CB saying that Georgia Tech fans glad he's gone. That's crazy. I don't think that's fair at all.
That every message board says that when a coach or player leaves. I mean, look at, they're already calling Parker a traitor, and Parker's like the nicest guy out there.
Yeah, hey, you can't take that trip, and Brent Venables is going to ask all types of stuff. Like, if he actually goes to OU, oh man,
oh yeah,
Brett can't lose too many more to Sark. Right. I get it. Like, Brett saved himself. That seat is a lot colder getting to the college football playoff, and you can put a lot of those issues on the offense, which that's not Brett's forte. But you can't keep losing the start. Brent Venables can't keep doing that. So if you got to bring in somebody that was, in the know, somebody that knows Sark personally, just to give you a little bit of an advantage, hey, I get looking at Parker Livingston, and Parker Livingston could play a little bit. He had some drops. My man talking about he couldn't catch HIV if he tried. That's cold, man. That's really cold. Parker was not
wrong with people.
Parker was not that bad. I saw the drops too, but he wasn't that bad. And he was happy after the Cheez-It Bowl. He was excited. He was saying that corny Cheez-It saying, I'm the cheesiest coach that everybody was saying. He was amped up. Like, it looked like the exit meeting was going to go well. But y'all just want Parker Livingston to sit on the bench his sophomore year.
Jeremiah asks, is there a tight end in the portal that could start here? I feel like it's a need. Yeah, I think the Michigan State tight end, Michael Mansanu, Masunis. That guy's 259. He can block. He can catch. I think he's a guy who fits what they need right now.
I mean, yeah, going out and looking for a tight end, I get that. Like, the room is thick, but if there's somebody better, I understand. For that person, whoever that may be, if Texas comes calling and if there's a tight end that's better, why would they want to go into that deep ass tight end room? Like where, unless if they're making promises where, oh, you're going to be the man, you're going to get JT Sanders, Gunnar Helm treatment. I mean, as a competitor, okay, certain guys want to compete and say, oh, I could care less about that room, being a lot of guys in there. I could beat all those guys out. There's a lot of guys that do think like that. There's a lot of guys that don't think like that. So that's the only thing that I question, because Maury Winston, Jordan Washington, Spencer Shannon, Nick Townsend, I haven't heard anything from those guys yet, which they might be doing the same thing Connor Robinson's doing and just waiting for everything to play out to see what decision they're going to make. But either way, that's a lot of guys in that room, even with Jack injuries off to the NFL.
Well, Michael Masunis has 1 year of eligibility left. 6'5", 259, had 19 catches, 232 yards, 3 touchdowns, and fits that, guy who can do both. So if you're running more 11 personnel, that's the guy who's going to be on the field because he can block and get it done. Now, let's see how much progress guys like Nick Townsend, Amari Winston. I think they're going to find a way to get Amari Winston on the field, even if it's like in a H-back, fullback type of role, because that dude, he's just a football player. Like, he likes contact. He can catch.
Did he get hurt?
No, they just didn't play him. And I hope he's still around,
What about Jordan Washington? Did he get hurt?
No. He had a lot of drops. Like, Jordan Washington I think his intensity meter needs to go up, because I was standing at practice at the Citrus Bowl and they were in the red zone. It was 3rd and short, and Caldwell put it right on his hands, and Jonah Williams came up and popped him, and the ball came loose, and Zena Umazula was like, "You a bizarre." I mean, it was, and Jordan Washington. Oh, yeah. And Jordan Washington's like, "What?" Yeah. He's like, "Catch the damn ball, bizarre."
Wow. All right.
So, yeah, I think, like, if you could combine all of those guys, Townsend's speed and athleticism, Winston's toughness with Jordan Washington's length, you'd have the ideal tight end. But right now you're kind of piecemealing it. And Spencer Shannon, I don't know. I mean, if it's,
you were high on him in the offseason.
I know, and they never target him. I've never seen if he can catch, because they don't target him, which tells you something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, look, it's tough right now to decide who's what. You just said it. Like, there were guys, who played in the Citrus Bowl who you're like, why haven't they been playing? I mean, you look at Khalil Lockett making that catch down the sideline, contested catch, tough catch, beautiful.
Hell of a throw.
Great throw, great catch. Christian Clark got into a rhythm, got 20 carries, got you 100 yards. Now he's probably watching to see what's going on, because, that 100-yard game came at a good time for him.
Yeah. And what I hear from every Texas fan that has their eye on Derek Cooper, this guy's going to be the next Bijan Robinson. So, all right. Okay.
Right.
You're telling me. I know he's good, but I'm just.
You got to have two.
Careful.
You got to have two. Every team needs to have two. You got to take the carries off of each other, and you got to be able to rotate. So every back who played, Roshan, Bijan, they both said, man, I'm glad I didn't get all the carries in college. I got just what I needed. Now I got some tread on the tire in the NFL. Like, if you want, 25, 30 carries a game, you're hurting yourself. but it does help to get into a rhythm. And Christian Clark got to do that.
Yeah.
So
they didn't even try with anybody else.
No.
I was like, damn, man, can y'all give my man James Simon a little bump?
Right. Can I give my man James Simon a little something, a little crumb?
Let him pass block something.
Something.
Like, did Jabbar Jaloop just walk in and just put his arms around Christian Clark and start walking with him while James Simon trailed? Like, because that's what it seemed like with the way they were using, which Christian Clark earned all those reps. Let's keep that clear. He earned it, but damn, still.
Yeah, he did. But didn't the Michael Terry short yardage thing feel forced?
That was weird.
Like, that's where I wanted to see James Simon, because that dude can spin and move, and he's got that kind of sidestep ability, make you miss in a phone booth. I like James Simon.
Yeah.
And Sark is crazy about Michael Terry. Like, I don't feel like Michael Terry has a position. I feel like it's...
Well, who you compare him to? Lil Jordan Humphrey?
Well, he needs to be like Lil Jordan Humphrey because he's a taller guy who played running back in high school like Lil Jordan did at South Lake Carroll. And then Lil Jordan moved to receiver. Boom. It was instant. It's not instant with Michael Terry. You know, he had, struggled with some drops and stuff. And he just, he needs confidence, whatever, but I don't know what his position is, because those short yardage runs, he looked like a guy who, okay, I'm supposed to hit the A gap. I'm going into the A gap, even if there's 6 guys in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying dance, because, that doesn't always lead to good things either, but he's so upright. I don't know.
Yeah, them pads high, and he can't help it. He's a tall dude.
Right.
It's hard to get that low pad level that you want as a running back when you're that tall.
I'm like, how much are you paying him? Because,
yeah.
Well, no, I mean, he was one of the top. He's one of the top athletes in the country in that 2025 recruiting class. But it's like, okay, where are your dollars? Are you getting the most bang for your buck? Because you paid a lot of money for Lockett, French, and Michael Terry, and you didn't get it in 25.
I'm right there with you, dog, because I said the same thing about my man Khalil Lockett. That was an expensive ass touchdown that he had. That was a hell of expensive, because that's all we saw from him.
And they'll go back to those guys and say, hey, you got to take less because you got paid a ton of money. You didn't play. So cut you back and earn it back, and that's everywhere. That's everywhere. If you got paid a lot of money and you didn't play, they're going to cut you back.
And that's tough because the agent ain't at practice all the time. So these kids could go tell their agent and be like, yo, I was better than DeAndre Moore. Speculation. I would have caught that pass that Ryan Wingo dropped against Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's dark. The game's dark. The game's dark right now. And everybody's trying to get the upper hand.
But you gotta be really good, man. You gotta be really good at evaluating, developing, and then putting the right price on some of these guys, because everyone in the country is talking about how Texas has their money in the wrong place at receiver, or they did in 2025. So it's like, that's not good. That's not what you want people talking about. You want people saying, oh man, they got Emmett Mosley for next to nothing and he balled out. And that's what you want. And then you go from there. The other thing too, Zay, is that as we see the market increase, which it is, because these agents are always going to push to increase the market. I mean, Scott Boras, the super agent in baseball, almost single-handedly changed salaries in baseball. And as we get into this, you got to be really good. You got to be really good at managing your cap and still maintaining relationships with these agents, because you're going to see them over and over again, most likely, if they have other players or if they're good at what they do. Like, Cam Coleman's got David Mulligetta. David Mulligetta is like the number one
OG
agent in the biz right now at Athletes First. So it's, like Brandon Harris has a really hard job.
Yeah. I saw somebody my man Derek's calling for Brandon Harris' gig. Calling for his head. Said if I'm Clark's agent, Brandon Harris dropping the ball on the portal. I think he said something else about Brandon Harris dropping the ball. So now Brandon Harris is getting heat.
Well, I don't know that. I mean, look, Brandon Harris might be a genius for not spending all that money on Cam Coleman. I mean, if it's, again, he's not Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith, that's $2 million to $4 million right there. That dude's catching 12 touchdowns in a bad year. I mean, that dude's ridiculous. He could be the number one pick in the draft next year.
He almost single-handedly won Ohio State that game versus Miami.
Right. Now that's the guy you go, yeah, let's go spend $2 to $4 million on him. But look, you got to the semifinals of the playoffs with Matt Golden. Chris Jackson, great job. I mean, Golden had skills, but he came from an air raid offense. He learned how to play in a pro style offense and delivered over and over and over and over and over and over again. And he got paid. First round pick. That's what I'm talking about. Just keep following that blueprint. You don't need to go, I've heard Cam Coleman's a little bit like George Pickens. Okay.
Gotta love that.
That makes me happy and it scares me. Right. So just make sure you know exactly what you're looking to bring in. Is it a guy who comes in and elevates everybody? Or is it a guy who comes in and pisses everybody off? So they know what the deal is. Sark talks about it all the time. And he said it at the Citrus Bowl post-game press conference. He's like, these guys, Ty Anthony Smith, Arch Manning, they got to be our culture guardians, because we're going to bring in a bunch of new guys. And the culture has to be maintained. I'll never forget Bill Snyder at K-State, who recruited a lot of JUCOs. He got a bad batch of JUCOs in K-State, and he stepped away. Then he came back, but it can go south, and one set of bad apples, and it doesn't have to be all of them, but it can be a couple of them who can come in and, like Tevin Mack. I feel bad. I hope that kid's probably a CEO of a company by now, but like when he came to Texas in basketball under Shaka, they had Jared Allen and they went, 11-22? And Tevin Mack is causing all kinds of problems in the locker room, and Shaka should have told him, hey man, you need to go. Because as soon as he left, they got better. Sometimes you got to be careful. You got to be careful what you're bringing in. Now, I love watching Cam Coleman play, because that dude makes big time catches, and he is the guy. In the red zone, you're going to him. Just like Texas when they had A.D. Mitchell, you're going to A.D. Mitchell. You have Matt Golden, you're going to Matt Golden. So, I like the kid Nick Marsh out of Michigan State. 6'3", just like Cam. Great hands. It's It's a dog eat dog world out there, man. You don't want to be caught in milk bone underwear.
Milk bone underwear. Who said that?
That's on Cheers.
That's on Cheers?
Yeah.
Ted Danson? Who said that?
Norm. Yeah, Nick Marsh had 59 catches, 662 yards, 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
You know.
By the way, Chris Jackson, I see that they extended his contract.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Chris Jackson, he's done a nice job. I mean, I get this year, but this year there were so many other issues, like the offensive line. Arch had to grow into the job, and early on, the receivers were where they were supposed to be. Arch couldn't hit them. Arch had a weird open stance throw early in the Citrus Bowl where he missed wide open guy, and then he got into the flow. He was fine. But earlier in the year, he'd make that bad throw and he'd be like, "Uh-oh, what just happened?" And then it would happen again, and blah, blah, blah. But now Arch he knows what's going on. He's carrying himself with all kinds of swag. There was someone who I guess was filming with their phone, or I don't know. But on that long touchdown run, he ran right up to that camera.
The camera, yeah.
He just gave him that deadpan look like,
Oh, he was on one that game. ESPN, they call him saying, "I'm just not going to give a F" at one point in the game. I think it was after, what play was it? I think it was after the throw to Khalil Lockett when he was hurting because he got that 4th and 2 and he got slammed on the ground. And I think that's where he got that bruise on his hip that you saw later on in the game where he lifted his shirt up. But he was a little hobbled after that play. And then a couple of plays later, after those Christian Clark runs, he hit Khalil Lockett down the field on that beautiful throw. But yeah, they went and put that B-roll on him. He said, "I'm just not going to give a F." Then after that Ty Anthony Smith interception, he runs a 60-yard touchdown, shows that speed. And yeah, that was all she wrote then. But yeah, Arch Manning, all that hype that he had 2025 preseason, I think that's the hype and energy we need to put on him here in 2026 because now it makes sense.
Do you see where Arch went over to Bryce Underwood, who was kind of sitting off by himself, and talked to him for a minute? Was like, "Hey, man, you're killing it."
Yeah. Nah, good too, man. Like all those quarterbacks, even though they're competing against each other, there's just a certain level of respect. I'm sure he's going to see Bryce Underwood this summer at his uncle's camp that any type of high-level quarterback in college football goes to. So, yeah, there's a certain respect that a lot of quarterbacks have for one another, and Arch Manning, he's no different than that. So, yeah, I appreciate him doing that and showing Bryce Underwood love, which Bryce Underwood, yeah, he was bad in that fourth quarter, but he did some things, boy, where you get why he was offered that, what, $8 million, $10 million, whatever the hell he got for his time up there in Ann Arbor. You get the hype. And if Kyle Whittingham could bring in somebody that fits for him offensively, I don't know who that's going to be, but they can find that dude. Look out, Michigan. They're right there next year.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's get a couple mentions in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, for my guys who are snoring, about in 2026, we try to get to the bottom of that. Because if you're snoring, it's more than just annoying to the person next to you. It could be the sign of a serious health issue called sleep apnea, which is a lack of oxygen while you're sleeping. And you don't even realize it. Like you wake up gasping and you hardly realize it because you're in and out of sleep. But if you're waking up tired every day and irritable, you need to get checked out. And we got this great partnership, Texas Sports Unfiltered and the Sleep Cycle Center of Austin, locations in Lakeway and the Arboretum. And it's Dr. Chad Denman, who's dedicated his life to treating sleep apnea because it killed his own father at the age of 60. And Dr. Chad has the best technology to detect sleep apnea in your sleep study and the best treatment options, including oral appliances like I have. mouth guard that holds my lower jaw open while I sleep. It makes all the difference in the world. My wife can tell when I don't have it in. So that tells you everything you need to know. Just go to sleepcyclecenters.com. Tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. They're going to take $100 off your sleep study, and you're going to get all the answers you need. Just go to sleepcyclecenters.com. Tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. And hopefully everyone is getting healthy in the new year. I was getting healthy last year thanks to Humann with 2 N's. I mean, they have made it so easy. There's scientific, science-backed formulas from award-winning research done at the University of Texas Health Science Center. Has created formulas that are going to help you have better heart health, better cardiovascular health, better cholesterol health. And just write these down because they just put it right on the bottle. Cholesterol health daily. Metabolic health daily. I mean, helping you with healthy blood sugar and weight management. That's the stuff that no one talks about. So that you don't get adult onset diabetes. And then cardiovascular health daily, helping with your blood flow, your blood pressure, your muscular health. I love the Sports Beets drink because it's the beet based formulas in the heart chews, the Super Beets heart chews, and the Super Beets sports powder are the number one recommended by cardiologists. And these Super Beets heart chews are going to help regulate your blood pressure 2 times more effectively than just diet and exercise. Don't forget about the turmeric chews, because if you're still out there kind of weekend warrioring like I am, these turmeric chews are going to help you with anti-inflammation. Inflammation is what causes the pain when we go and work out. So you got to regulate that. Here's the deal. You go to Humann with 2 N's.com/TSU. Use the promo code TSU. You get 20% off your first order. And there's a 90-day money-back guarantee. So load up. Get you a bunch of, cans of the cardiovascular, metabolic, and cholesterol health daily. Super Beets heart chews, turmeric chews, because you're going to feel better. Your brain fog's going to go away. You're going to feel, like, man, I'm doing something right. That's what it's all about. And hey, it's Monday. Cover 3, all night happy hour at Cover 3. Great time to, go get some friends together. Great vibe, great service. I mean, high-end food without the high-end prices. The brick chicken and mac and cheese. I had that the other day. Oh, love it. So good. It's even good as leftovers. Love that. But the Chop House burger, the Sean Adams prime rib sandwich, it's melting your mouth food, melting your mouth fun at Cover 3. Cover 3 Anderson and Cover 3 Round Rock. And of course, our man Tom McKay, he's ready to make your 2026 so much better with the big screen of your dreams. I mean, if your big screen's not big enough to make you feel like you're on the sideline at the game, it might be time to give Tom a call at 255-8678. Or go to avconsultations.com. He's got you covered. He's going to bring you the best price on big screens. He do a full-blown media room for you with the surround sound. He can help you out with surveillance, electronic shades, new lighting. Just call 255-8678 or go to avconsultations.com. All right, Zay. For the chip shot today, I would just say, hey, if you're like, hey, man, what's with the slow start for Texas in the portal? I would just say don't make any final judgments until this portal window is done. Because we know in recruiting, it's a wild ride. It's full of twists and turns, some good, some bad. But even some that are bad, I always go back to Ryan Perrilloux. It was all about Ryan Perrilloux in 2004. And Ryan Perrilloux committed to Texas. So did Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy was never supposed to play quarterback at Texas. Supposed to be Ryan Perrilloux. Perrilloux ditches Texas, signs with LSU, and Colt McCoy becomes the record holder. So don't blow gaskets. Don't lose your mind. Ride this wave, because Texas has a lot of talent on its roster right now. They're trying to supplement. My biggest areas are offensive line and linebacker. Get those two filled and then see what you can add elsewhere. But those are the areas Texas cannot afford to make a mistake. You can afford to not pay Cam Coleman a ton of money. You can go find receivers. Steve Sarkisian's been really good at that. But let me see some of those offensive linemen. Let me see some of those linebackers. I know I've put Zay on tilt today because Robert Woodyard, who, would be a really good veteran middle linebacker who was the highest graded defender on Auburn's defense, has done it in the SEC. Yeah. So, look, Johnny Nansen, Will Muschamp, they're going to find dudes who fit what they want. And I like what they're doing at defensive tackle. I like the Ian Gaffard. He's a smart guy. He knows he's physical, he's athletic. And if they, there's some interest, I think, in Zion, not Zion Williamson, Zion Williams, 360-pound defensive tackle out of LSU. Those guys are, in demand. But I think Will Muschamp has a good message to sell. Yeah, I coached Jalen Carter. I coached Jordan Davis. I coached Deontay Wyatt. They were a big part of the reason Georgia won 2 national championships. So don't hang in there. It's a wild ride, but it ain't over till it's over.
Ain't over till the fat lady sings. Yeah, hell of a chip shot, my friend. I've been dreading this, so I guess we'll talk some basketball. But before that, shout out to Covert BK, family owned and operated. They are the best in the business when it comes to looking for a car, new, pre-owned. They will work with you and find something that fits your budget. And hey, it's 2026, but 2025 models still going at a high price, man. Special prices, special offers. Go check it out on covertbk.com. They got Buick, GMCs, they got Cadillacs, Dodge, Chryslers, Ram, Jeeps, anything that you need, they have. You need a crossover, they got it. You need a SUV, truck, they got it. New, used, they have it. And trust me, I know, been in there myself. Hooked us up on our Buick Encore GX that my wife loves. I barely get to drive it because she loves it so much. And she knows, hey, I really take it for a spin. You know what I'm saying? I get behind the wheel and I'm within the limits, but also you just gotta see what that thing can do. And Covert BK, they'll hook you up and take care of you. It's not about meeting the quota. They don't got any just sleazy car salesman vibes over there. No, everybody is top of the line, and they want to find a vehicle that fits for you and your family. So go over to Covert BK. Nobody beats a Covert deal. Not now, not ever. Travis, what's up, baby? Yo, Travis, man, put your number down. We could go have lunch. We can hang out, hit the town. You know what I'm saying? You're saying your boy's an idiot and stuff. I appreciate it. I really do. Every time something like this comes up, I always got to quote the great Peter Weber. Hate me or love me, you're watched. You're here. You're a part of Chip and Zay from 2 to 4 on this beautiful Monday, first Monday of the show in 2026. I'm glad you're here. No matter what you think of me, this smile ain't going nowhere. This dimple.
We love love around here.
Love around here, man. And this, some people call this hate. Zay is an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Some people say that's hate. I call it love because not everybody's going to like you. You know, when you hate it, that's when you know you're doing something right. You think Jordan was loved by everybody? You think Brady was loved by everybody? So, you know, I appreciate it. This is love to me, Travis. Little do you know, it is love. So we appreciate everybody that rocks with us on Chip and Zay, Texas Sports Unfiltered. Whether you hate me or love me, we appreciate it. All right. Texas basketball, man. Good grief. First off, let's discuss the elephant in the room, and that's the officiating. Because I got a lot of comments on my Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, about how the refs are the ones that cost Texas that loss. Dalen Swain fouled out, huge, especially after the game he was having. I mean, Dalen Swain, good Lord, 34 points, 14 rebounds. For him to foul out of that game, that's brutal, and it can't happen. The last 2 fouls that he had a help side foul where Josh Herbert drove the lane. Dalen Swain came over and took a swipe. They called it on him. That call, it's tough. I don't like it, but it was called. That gave him 4. And then the worst one was when he was boxing out old African brother, Big 99, that changed the game. 99, my opinion, he was the X factor in that game. He got like 7 offensive rebounds, and the rebounds overall, that was the game, with Texas being out rebounded by 9, 47 to I think 38, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 47 to 39. So out rebounded by 8. Huge. But if you're Dalen Swain, what about the foul that you had before those last 2, where you're going for the steal, you grab a guy's hip, and you wrap your arm around the other side to catch the ball to get a deflection? That's not good. You can't do dumb stuff like that. You can't. Now, in Dalen Swain's defense, what Sean Miller talked about it in his presser, Sean Miller, you could tell he's getting frustrated with this team. You could tell. And shout out to our guy, Eric Henry, Horns 24/7, Texas Sports Unfiltered. Eric Henry asked a question to Sean Miller where he was like, hey, is it the IQ of the guys? I'm paraphrasing here. Is it the IQ of the guys, or is it something that coaching can correct? Something along those lines. Listen to what Sean Miller had to say about that. Probably the quote of the year for Sean Miller.
Now, if I tell you not to cross the street, and I keep telling you, and I say, I swear, whatever you do not cross the street, and you do and the bus hits you, I'm going to take responsibility as your parent. But damn it, how many times do I have to tell you not to cross the street? We got some of that going on.
Yeah, that's just a nice way of saying we're a dumbass team. I tell these guys over and over and over again, basic basketball things, and we don't listen. Stop fouling 3-point shooters. Stop it. I saw that 3 times in this game, all on Josh Herbert. Every time he rose with Josh Herbert, he's a hell of a player, by the way. Like, even though he took 30 shots to get the 38 that he had, it seemed like every bucket that was timely, he hit. But man, Jordan Pope got hit with a foul on the 3. Kendall Weaver did. Simeon Wilcher fouled on the 3 to end the half. Like, they just do dumb things. And there's only 6 players that you could trust right now. And it's not like those 6 players aren't flawed. Like, those 6 players have flawed too. But Sean Miller also talked about this too, which I've been saying all year, Chip. You know I've been talking about the power forward position. It's a liability. So much so, your coach is out here saying we're basically playing 4-on-5 because the power forward position is giving us nothing. That's what he said. He said that after the Mississippi State game. Cam Heide, Lassina Traore. He's not playing Declan DeRue at all. So it's just Nick Cody. He's not playing him. He gave up on Nick Cody. He is forcing Dalen Swain to play the power forward spot, which offensively it works. Defensively, it's tough. Even though he had 14 rebounds, Dalen Swain is still giving up a lot of size down there, which not only that affects him, that affects everybody else around him because you're also playing with small guards. So when you have him at the 4, it's not like Kendall Weaver's out here 6'8". It's not like Jordan Pope is 6'5", 6'6", where it can help negate playing a small forward at your power forward spot. Those guys are small too. So that's why you get beat on the boards by 8 to a Mississippi State team where Chris Jantz, he realized that. He realized, okay, Swain's killing us offensively playing the 4. But we could kill them defensively by just attacking the glass and putting in 2 bigs. And it led to Dalen Swain, even if you don't agree with the call, fouling out of the game. So that worked. That worked for Mississippi State. Also, Sean Miller, bro. You gotta read the room. You can say what you said about if I tell you not to cross the street and you get hit by the bus. You can say all that. Great analogy, by the way. But if Dalen Swain, who fouls out, 146 left in the game, you're up by 7, you gotta win that game. You have to win that game. They gave up a 3 to Hubbard. They gave up a layup, and then they end up allowing the shot to tie it. In between all of that, Chip, Jordan Pope took your last 2 shots. Why? Why is he the guy taking the shots? But Dalen Swain's out the game. He fouled out. Okay. Tremont Mark, I trust him with the ball in his hands more than Jordan Pope at the end of the game. Sorry, Jordan Pope, but a lot of your shots come from settling. Tremont Mark can make things happen. Not just for himself, but others, where he doesn't have to settle. He's just a better one-on-one defender. He is. That's just a fact. Mathis is a better option before Jordan Pope to get the ball. Both of those guys were in the game. So Jordan Pope takes a bad 3 that leads to a bucket to tie the game. Sean Miller has 3 timeouts. Instead of calling the timeout when you realize Jordan Pope has the ball in his hands, you run a play for Jordan Pope to take the game winner. Meanwhile, you have the worst defender, that freaking German dude, number 11 for Mississippi State. He's their worst defender. He's guarding Tremont Mark. You don't have to call a timeout. Throw it to Tremont Mark. He has a mismatch. Let's go. We'll take what we could get. But for Jordan Pope, after he already missed a clutch shot to put the ball in his hands for him to take another one, that's bad coaching, Sean Miller. That's not a good move. That's just not. You got to understand the room. You got to understand that Jordan Pope, this ain't his time. And this is the second time Sean Miller has done that, in my opinion, where it's cost Texas a game. Go back to Maui Invitational, where Dalen Swain, he missed 2 free throws, clutch free throws, but they had a chance to win the game. They gave it to Tremont Mark, who was struggling at the time. This was before Sean Miller gave Tremont Mark confidence to shoot mid-range jumpers and to take ill-advised, 2s, according to what analytics people like to say out here. But still, Dalen Swain should have taken the shot at the end of that game. Okay, you lose that. We're learned from it. Here we are, new situation. Tremont Mark is the better option with Swain out. If not him, let's give it to Mathis. And then if somehow we get in the situation where it ends up in Jordan Pope's hands because we tried the first 2 options on the court, so be it. But man, I wouldn't have went with that. Jordan Pope has his moments. I'm just not putting the ball in his hands in that moment. I'm not. Another play that was horrible too, and this is what Sean Miller might be talking about with that analogy where he's telling guys, but they're still not listening. You got Lassina Traore on the court. You got Josh Herbert, who likes to come off that high screen and shoot the 3 at the top of the key.
Hubbard,
thank you. It's a tie game. Kendall Weaver's guarding Hubbard. Here comes that high pick and roll. your man screening Lassina Traore. Either we're doubling Josh Hubbard, who has 35 points at the time, or we're making sure Kendall Weaver stays. What do, Chip? They switch. And they just allow Lassina Traore to guard Hubbard one-on-one. And if you're a great scorer and a solid shooter, your eyes light up when a big steps out on you. Oh, hell yeah, I'm getting to my spot. Ain't no way this big can check me. And that's exactly what happened. He get a little stutter step right into that really high jumping shot that he gets into, knocked it down, hit the crowd with a quiet gesture, and Texas just couldn't overcome that. Which Trayvon Mark, tough missed free throws, but still, there are a lot more things prior to those missed free throws that lost Texas this game. And now if you look at the schedule, you got Tennessee tomorrow. They're pissed off because they just lost to Arkansas. I think you got 3 ranked games after you played Mississippi State and lost to them in overtime. That was a must win. This is an NIT team. And it's frustrating. Like, you're not getting anything out of Cam Heide. You're not getting anything out of Lassina Traore. It's tough. We talk about misevaluations with this football team. This coaching staff, same thing. They misevaluate on Cam Heide, Nick Cody, Lassina Traore isn't what he was when he was at, Long Beach. He missed that whole year at Xavier. It's tough times right now. Like, if you need Dalen Swain to drop 34 and 14 and you're still losing to Mississippi State, and Mathis has 19, and Trayvon Mark plays well, and Kendall Weaver looks good, and you're still just losing here, I don't know what more you can do. I think you're just going to keep losing games because this team, they have to make up for it with their IQ, with their lack of skill, with their lack of size. You have to make up with it by having good basketball IQ. And when you foul three-point shooters three times in one game, that's not good basketball IQ. They're beating themselves. And it sucks.
Yeah. So are you writing off Cam Heide?
Yeah, 100%.
What you don't think there's any way they can make use of him in a 55% 3-point shooting percentage?
And that's the thing. He can't get his shot off. He can't get it off at all. He has no ability to get it off. Like, I know you have to try to create for him, but when you do that, that means, okay, dude, you have to be able to come off screens and be ready to, shoot, kind of like J.J. Redick did back in his Duke days. Like, you can't do that, apparently, because they don't run any of that stuff for him. He's not even looking at the rim. He can't dribble. The first play of the game, he turns it over. First play of the game. We know what the first play of the game is. Everybody has, okay, when we come out, we're going to run this. Kind of like Sark has his opening script, just like in basketball. Most likely you have an opening play of what you want to do once you go out on the court. And Ken Heide just turns it over because he can't dribble. And defensively, he's a liability. You can't.
Well, they gave that turnover to Pope.
Yeah, that's bad. That's all Cam Heide. That was all Cam Heide. Yeah. That was all. Damn, man. They did Jordan Pope.
You just done turned on my man.
I'm not trying to turn on him. I don't want to turn on him, but we talked about this earlier. No offense to Sean Miller, but I put Matt Painter on a different pedestal than him. I think Matt Painter is a better coach. He's gotten those Purdue teams to Final Fours, national championships. I'm taking Matt Painter over Sean Miller, even though I think Sean Miller is a good coach too. With that being said, Matt Painter couldn't do anything with Cam Heide. He couldn't. He tried.
He was a backup.
Yeah. Exactly. You're making my point. He was a backup. He wasn't good enough to play. So he goes on to Texas, and they're realizing, oh, yeah, you're not good enough to play with us either. So, that 4 spot, God, it's bad. God, and I'm still confused.
You're saying this about a guy who's shooting 56% from the floor and 51%, 19 of 37 from 3. It's not like he's, 2 of 5.
he would be a really good mid-major player because all those stats you're throwing out was against mid-major competition. In Maui, he looked decent, which everyone looks decent in Maui, shooting on them soft-ass rims and the depth perception's like a high school gym. Fun. We all had fun there. But now playing against tough SEC play, when he plays against quad one teams, it's a struggle for him. I'm telling you, Sean Miller can only trust 6 guys right now. That's Mathis, that's Dalen Swain, Jordan Pope, Simeon Wilcher, Kendall Weaver. Who am I missing?
Tremont Mark.
That's it. He's got 6 guys he could trust. Everybody else, I can't trust Lucina. I can't trust Cam Heide. They have to be better. They have to. And I don't know what you're going to do these next 3 games. Lord. I don't know what they do. I think they're going to get beat down tomorrow.
Well, the Texas women tried to give away a 19-point lead, but they got it done.
Yeah.
The fourth quarter was rough.
It was. And it's hard to bitch at a team that's undefeated.
Why didn't Vic rotate more?
That's what I'm saying. That's it.
He played like a 6-player rotation, played 5 of them 38 to 40 minutes.
I'm really concerned with Justice Carlton's confidence. I don't really understand how she could be such a big factor to your team when you're beating UCLA and South Carolina and Baylor. All of a sudden, Ashton Judd is healthy. And if Justice Carlton makes a mistake like she did, she made a couple of mistakes early in that game, but she got in the doghouse early where it resulted in only 7 minutes played while Ashton Judd took the other 33 minutes out of those 40 minutes at that position. And I kind of trying to get Ashton Judd in the rhythm because she hasn't played at all. But, man, Justice Carlton, she does so many things well. There's going to be times where she'll have a turnover or she'll get beat on D. I saw Ashton Judd getting beat on D too. She had that really good and one finish to close out the game, but I'm just very confused with the rotations right now. I don't think Jordan Lee should be playing 40 minutes when you got Breonna Preston on the bench. And Ashton Judd. Ashton Judd could be a 3. Madison Booker, we've seen her play point her freshman year. So if you have to sit Rory Harmon for a little bit, put Madison Booker at the point. And again, they're undefeated. So bitching from a yacht here. But the way they've looked these last 2 games, and it's going to get real. They got LSU coming up. They got South Carolina coming up. I'm sure they got to play Vanderbilt coming up, who just beat LSU. I saw Kentucky beat LSU the other night. It's going to get real. So they're still winning, but this is the worst that they've looked. And it's ironic because this is probably the most healthy they've been.
Well, they still don't have Aaliyah. She had a setback with her foot injury. She's going to be out probably another couple weeks. And Rory, yeah. So Rory was unbelievable to start the game. 6 assists, 1 turnover, and then ended up with 5 turnovers, 2 really bad turnovers in the fourth quarter. Jordan Lee had a couple of bad turnovers. It was like Kyla missed a layup at 6:57 of the fourth, and it kind of started this string of bad things. Rory had a couple bad turnovers. Lee had a couple bad turnovers. They missed free throws. Rory missed free throws with 4 seconds left that would have extended the lead beyond. Cody McMahon getting that 3-point attempt at the buzzer to tie. Yeah, good play. She came on. I mean, she scored 12 of her 19 in the fourth quarter. So, Ole Miss is a good team. They're ranked. They're gritty. And I think Texas relaxed. They got up 19 with, 7 minutes left in the third, and they probably started thinking, we're good. But Ole Miss punished every mistake down the stretch.
No, I like Ole Miss. That's an Elite 8 team right there. That's a good team.
Speaking of Ole Miss, let's bring in the fellas. Matt Galatzan, how about them Ole Miss Rebels, baby?
Oh man, I'm still on cloud nine. I don't know about y'all, but it's that was a hell of a game, and I just feel better and better about it. I almost bought tickets to Miami, like plane flights to Miami, and I was like, you know what, I probably shouldn't jinx it, so I held off. So we'll see how it goes.
That was a fun game to watch, man. We were talking about
Mhm.
Trinidad Chambliss. That dude looked in that game. He looked like he was ready to go pro.
He did, didn't he? And shout out to the Texas Sports Unfiltered family. I got texts from Chip and Pat and BK and like everybody was just like, "Congratulations, Matt!" I was like, "Hell yeah!"
And your women's basketball team almost pulled off a huge comeback yesterday at the Mood.
Hey man, Coach Ye, gotta love her. She's great.
She is good.
Yeah, man.
She's really good. Yeah.
All
All right,
well,
y'all. Have a good show.
See you tomorrow.
Guys.
All right, welcome in to Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. And of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Text lines open 512-222-9328. And of course, over there on the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. Lots to get into today. We're going to talk a ton of Portal. Has not been as active as we maybe thought it would have been to get early, but still lots going on. So we'll get into that, where Texas is on all that, talk some Texas basketball, some NFL, as well as we continue on the show today. Matt, do you have a good weekend? You settling back into 2026 and feeling good in the new year?
Yeah, man, everything feels great so far. I've been working my butt off with this transfer portal stuff, trying to keep up. And I think there's some fireworks yet to come, but we'll I think everything will be just fine. I know Texas fans are a little impatient, particularly at the running back position, but I think everybody's going to end up being pretty happy about it.
No, it's good. It's good. It was a weird sports weekend, and then I got to go to a Spurs game, which I haven't been to a Spurs game in a while, and it was tons of fun. But we did lose, and Wemby didn't play, so I was like, all right, this is not quite what we were looking for. I need some wins to happen. I haven't had some wins in a little bit. And Texas men's basketball is just, it's just bad. It's just bad. It's just bad. So we'll get into that later. But we will get but yeah, I mean, really, I think the big piece, Matt, is what we saw happening over the weekend was a lot of visits, a lot of talking around, but in general, not just for Texas, but kind of across the world of the transfer portal, there was not nearly as much action early as we thought there would be. With all the tampering and everything else that we know goes on, it does feel like these agents are all very clearly trying to make everyone play each other against each other to get the best offers. So nobody wants to let their clients walk into a place and walk out with, and say, just go get it signed on the dotted line. If you're able to go get that, this amount of money, go get it. I think everyone goes, if we can get 2, great. Maybe we can get 3. We can get 3, maybe we can get 4. So don't sign, and we'll keep trying to get more and more as they can go. And it's, I mean, again, one of those things that you're like, that's not a great sustainable model. But if you're an agent and you're a player, you might as well cash in while you can. So we're seeing it play against everybody. And I think once we start to see some of these top guys go, we'll see a lot more action. But it feels like there's a line with a lot of these positions, and everyone's kind of got it budgeted out. And they're like, well, you're number 2. And so if we can get a couple wide receivers off the board, all of a sudden a bunch more wide receivers. Same with the running back position. It feels like there's just a lot to still play out. But are you surprised at all, Matt, at maybe how slow the actual signings and commitments have been so far?
Not necessarily. I think that it's different, obviously, than it was last year, because I think some of the top players are kind of just more weighing their options. You know what I mean? Like they know that they can kind of play this stuff and like you kind of said, like play these offers against each other and all those kinds of things. I just want people to remember that, and I've brought this one up before. AD Mitchell was a very late portal entry.
Yep.
And, Texas fans were kind of freaking out a little bit about the wide receiver position outside of Isaiah Bond that year. and it eventually came to fruition. I still think that there's players that haven't necessarily entered the portal yet that could potentially enter the portal. And just because Cam Coleman leaves Austin without signing on the dotted line doesn't mean that that's a done deal, that he's not going there. He also visited A&M and left there without signing a deal. He's actually flown home now to Alabama when he was supposed to, I believe, fly to Texas Tech and to USC. And he could still take those visits, but I do think it could mean something that he flew home instead of going on another visit.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how that one plays out. But at the end of the day, there's still plenty of things that can happen. There's a new running back name we can talk about. There's a new linebacker, couple new linebacker names we can talk about. Some, multiple visits for Texas. So there's still a lot happening. It's just, the stuff that has happened thus far hasn't necessarily been the most exciting things that we've heard in our lives. Like, and we'll get into those, but the 3 specialists and a defensive tackle, I don't think is the way that Texas fans envisioned this thing kind of starting out, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't think it was. That was, and especially not with so many guys leaving. So I think that's the main issue. And it's my main issue with it is you can't let everybody go if you don't have a solid plan B. And that's the little bit of concern of, well, we thought if you were going to let Parker and DeAndre and Trey Wisner and everybody leave, if you were not going to keep anybody on this offense, you had some other guys ready to go that we would have already known about him because it was a done deal, and that's why those guys leave. And the problem, you look at it and say, is there the confidence level of us being a more talented team next season instead of trying to now, are you going to be roughly the same talent level but cost $10 million more? Because now you had to overspend on guys when you could have just kept some guys and paid them, less than what you're going to pay a guy who's roughly the same. Now, maybe they may be better. Maybe they may be worse. They're an unknown commodity when they come into your program. You never really know. So that's the worry. Now, it's still super early in this, so you can't judge anything yet. But there is definite, I think the concern level has raised for everybody because you felt like, and like we're at Texas again, we talked about this with Will Muschamp. There was always the point of if you would have given us a weekend with after firing PK, the concern level would be high. But because there was no break, there was no concern level. It went straight from PK being fired to and Will Muschamp is coming. And right now, for Texas fans, you're like, well, we're losing all these guys. Trey Wisner is now a Florida State Seminole. He's already gone. He's got a new uniform. He's got a new place. He's already looking for apartments. He's ready to go. And Texas is not there yet. Not the end of the world, but I understand the concern. And so I'll ask you and I'll ask everybody in the chat too, where's your confidence level going in on this Monday? Where's your confidence level that this will be a win in the transfer portal, that overall you will improve in the transfer portal? Where's your confidence of not staying the same, not treading water, but actually improving? Where's your confidence level right now, Matt? And that Texas is still completely on the right track.
Well, am I doing it like out of 10?
Sure.
10 out of 10. I'm not concerned at all. I think that this is kind of typical of Steve Sarkisian in the sense that he's doing his due diligence, and they're doing their homework, and they're talking to the guys that they want. I don't think that they're going to overinvest in someone that they believe they can still get just for the sake of landing somebody early in the process. I mean, you have to let these things play out. And we've already seen some players enter the portal in the last 24 hours that we did not anticipate to enter the portal, like Cade Uvalale or whatever his name is from California. He's one of the best linebackers in the country. I believe Texas will be in on him. And that's a player that was not in a part of the conversation up until yesterday. So I think some more of those things are going to happen. I trust their process. I trust what they're going to do. The running back visitor that they have right now is a very exciting one, in my opinion, and Raleek Brown, the Arizona State running back, extremely explosive. If you compare him on a level of number 2 running back to Trey Wisner is probably about right here. This guy's up here. Okay, so it would be a major upgrade if they can land that guy. He's on campus right now, and those are just those are just the kinds of things that are going to continue to happen, I believe, as this thing goes forward. They've got a corner on campus that has familiarity with Mark Orphy. So there are still things happening, and as the process continues to play out, these things will take care of themselves. But right now, I know everybody's on pins and needles because you haven't gotten your star yet, but I promise you, at least from my vantage point, it seems like those things are coming.
No, I like that. I'm at a 6 or a 7, which is what I've been at since last week. 6 or 7. I don't like the process, what they're doing. I'm not a fan of new is better, because it's not. New is different, but new does not equal better. So there's a question of, well, is this guy going to be better? And you go, well, what system are you putting him in? How is he going to work with what it was? I don't think the problem this year was necessarily just straight up talent. I think on the offensive line, it probably was. But a lot of areas, they did not improve over the offseason. They just did not. And the reason why Sark is a better coach than Texas had for 15 years was player development. He developed players, and they just didn't do it in one offseason. They were so worried about keeping themselves healthy, they did not develop their players at all over an offseason. They developed them during the season. I mean, hell, look at Christian Clark in the bowl game. By the end of the season, Christian Clark was developed into a much better player. But he wasn't at the beginning of the season. We look at half that roster, and we go, they got better by the end of the season because they developed. But we just didn't see the progress that we needed to see, and we lost 2 games in the first 5 games of the season. And that's the reason why we weren't in the playoffs. Nothing else. Was we did not develop our players early enough, and we were not ready to start the season. And so I get we can get new guys in. And when I say that, but the talent level to me of letting a lot of guys go and taking the shot, because we can talk about running backs and go, well, they're better than Trey Wisner, and go, maybe they are, but maybe they'll get in the SEC and they'll have similar runs. And so I'm not 100% sold on anybody who doesn't play at this level. This is also, you got to remember me coming off of basketball and watching a Texas basketball team that only picks up guys who can play at lower levels and doesn't want to pick up real players over and over again, and then wonders why they can't perform in the SEC. But we've seen that too often. We see it happen all the time. Is you get a big name, you get a guy who was a really great player at a slightly lower level, and they can't take that transition when he gets more physical, when the holes open up or slower, when the guy chasing you is a little bit faster. All of those things take him out. The jump from college to the NFL is the best example of it, but we see it in levels of play. So with all of that, I'm always just a little bit, I'm not super overconfident, because I think they're going to have to overspend to equal the same roster they had last year. And I think they needed to upgrade some positions for sure. And defensively, you've definitely, that linebacker position right now is huge. You have to continue to find the guys there. I think you still need a little bit more love in that secondary too, losing Manny Muhammad. I think you got to find somebody in there who's going to make you feel excited about that secondary. And then the offensive line. Outside of that, like the Cam Coleman thing for me, I would love to have Cam Coleman. Really would. I think it'd be so much fun to watch him. But on the flip of that, wide receiver to me wasn't really the issue this year. It wasn't like, man, if we just had a couple more wide receivers, we'd be good to go. We just had one more guy. Now, we don't win Florida if we have Cam Coleman. And again, that's the one game that I'm like, that was more about consistency and who showed up and who was ready to play. But you're like, we don't win Florida if we have Cam Coleman. So that one to me, but I still need to see offensive line. I need to see running backs now because, I know we've got some young guys coming in. I don't trust any true freshmen to be a star player on a national championship team. In 2 years, 1 year, maybe even. They could be really, really good, but I need somebody there. And drops are an issue. I agree. Drops were an issue. I think drops are an issue across the league in a lot of places. And there's Cam Coleman be nice. I don't think we win that game though, because we were just thoroughly outplayed on that game. I think you make the team better. Again, I'd love to see Cam Coleman. Love to see him. I also think drops when they're not one player and they're across becomes, again, not having your team ready to play early in the season and not having your guys ready to go. That just seemed to be a bigger problem to me across the board. So I bent 6 to 7 in confidence level from the beginning. It hasn't gone down over the weekend. I'm not more afraid of it because I thought this was what was going to happen. Like, I didn't think you were going to walk out and immediately walk in the portal and go, here's $20 million. Let's go get these guys and give them an offer they can't refuse. I didn't think we were going to do that because it's not a really great way to run your business is to do that. So I think we're still right where you're at, Matt. No, Ike. I think we're about right where you're at. I think you're right, which is they're going to bring in a lot of people to play well. I'm just not oversold. It's going to take me a minute to get oversold on some of these guys because what I wanted to see and what I know is out there are a little bit more questionable of guys. But let's start going down some of these targets. So you can tell me on these.
But before you do that,
yes.
I need you to put your confidence level at either 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, so we don't get this meme thing.
No, we're doing it. We're doing
it. But in terms of Cam Coleman, here's my thing about that.
Yeah,
I think it's more than just adding a really good receiver to your roster. I think it's adding a skill set at wide receiver that you didn't previously have that is critical to unlocking your passing game.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is Texas did not really have a 50-50 go get it, a contested catch guy, whether it be in the red zone or down the field, that Arch can just say, I don't know where to go with the football. I'm going to throw it that way, and he's going to go get it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Texas hasn't had that since A.D. Mitchell. They got away with it, I think, a little bit more last year because Matthew Golden kind of developed into that as the season went on. But I sincerely believe that Cam Coleman on this roster would unlock this passing game to a completely new level. It would make Arch Manning better. It would make the offense better in every which way. Now, that being said, the whole $4 million thing that has been thrown around, I think, has been wildly overdone. Based on everything that I've heard, it's going to be more around 2 million, which at the end of the day, I don't think really matters. I think that also what I have heard is that he's not going to make the decision based on money, which would lead you to believe that if he's down to Texas or Texas A&M, then he's going to be like, well, who's the better quarterback? And I think that's a very obvious answer to that question. So that is something that I think also needs to be considered. So you talk about, do you beat Florida with Cam Coleman? Probably not, because you got absolutely blitzed on the line of scrimmage in that game and you couldn't do anything on the line of scrimmage. Do you beat Ohio State if you have Cam Coleman?
Maybe.
I think you have a much better shot.
It's a different game. But yeah, Arch could throw the football in that game.
Yes, but he could have thrown the ball up in the air.
I don't know. I saw some of those. He didn't get him in the air in that one. I'm with you, though. I'm with you. I think you have a good point there. Very much so. I'm with you that he does add something to it. I think he'd be really good. But again, the issue is not our passing game was so bad. What are we going to do? It was not good, but we couldn't run the football. And really simple. You have to be able to play defense and you have to be able to run the football to win a national championship. Bottom line, bar none, this is what has to happen. If you cannot do those two things, we could throw for 7,000 yards and we'll end up losing in the second round because someone will be able to run the ball and control the clock against us. So that's again where my concerns are is, look, I get we love to have him and but that's why I say I'm not as concerned about Cam Coleman because I would love to add him. But he's a fun piece that will make our team much better. He is not required for us to be in the conversation to be a national champion next year. If we get him or if we don't, it does not. We could still be a national champion. But there's some other things if we don't get it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And also just 1 second back to the conversation about is he going to be better or is he going to be worse? I think that in those situations, and this isn't me arguing with you, it's just a general way of people looking at it. I think that you have to look at the measurables. And I get the Big 12 is much like in Raleek Brown, for example, the running back. You have to look at the measurables, and I know that he's going against Big 12 defenses, but if you look at the way that those guys play football, he's quicker, he's faster, he's bigger, he's stronger. that should provide an upgrade. Now, does that mean that there will be an upgrade based, once he gets to campus? That's still up for debate. But based on the way that this staff develops talent or identifies talent, I would trust their judgment of letting Trey Wisner go and picking up a Raleek Brown more so than I would do that with Texas Tech going to get Brennan Sorsby, who's just kind of a mid quarterback that they just threw a bunch of money at because they wanted to make a big splash. That's why I think that the two situations are completely different with Texas and Texas A&M, or Texas and Texas Tech, for example, is I think Texas Tech is just trying to throw money around to make a splash. And I think Texas is being a little bit more deliberate in what they're trying to do and the players that they're trying to bring in, which may be why it's taking a little bit more time.
No, I'm with you. I agree 100% with that. The issue I had is coming in and saying, guys, we're all in, and then doing things the exact same way, except letting more players go. That's the only issue. I don't think you're all in. I think this is the exact same way we've been doing business before. Now, hopefully that changes, and we do spend more money, and we do go more all in. I don't know that they are, though, because I assume they're going to run it the same way they've been running it, which is not a bad way to run it. I just personally am not thrilled how much different this offense is going to look without seeing the back end of it. Now, maybe they'll get me and I'll be more excited about it.
Well,
I'm not discounting that. I just don't. I think there was some really easy things to fix on that offense to make it better, and to do wholesale changes. I didn't know if that was necessary. I trust Sark. I trusted what they're doing. I thought that they were kind of going into this. This is where I always lose it, is the thought process of, well, we're Texas, or we are offering something that they're going to come in, and it's not at the end of the day going to come down to money. And then walking into rooms with guys and you pitch them on everything else, and then they go, okay, but the number's this. And they go, well, that number is a little high. And they go, okay, bye. I genuinely could not care about your school. I don't care about the things. I don't want to be here. I want to get paid the money, and I want to get I want to be guaranteed a starting job. That's what I want. And if you're not going to give it to me, there's 3 other schools who will. And that's not everybody, clearly, but that's a lot of people. And that's the one where I'm like, I think Texas is going to miss out on some people that they think are going to care more about other things. And then when the number comes in and it is too high, they may miss out on some of those guys. They'll get somebody else good. But again, it's that middling line of, okay, are you going to go and just deal with that at certain positions? I'm okay with it at wide receiver. I'm not okay with it on offensive line. You cannot not get offensive linemen.
Well, yeah, and they've had some visit already, which is important.
Yeah.
But here's what I'll say. I get wanting to go out and make a big splash early, and quiet some of the concerns about certain positions. But you also don't want to be Oklahoma and go get Jaden Ott, and then he turns into a big loss.
I agree. 100%.
So I like the way that they're approaching it.
Yeah.
And I think that patience is the most important thing that we need to have in this beat or following Texas going forward, because I think that they're going to make the right moves and they're going to get the right guys. And JB, I'm not going to have that conversation with you. They're not even close. But regardless, there have been a lot of positive developments thus far, and we're going to talk about those now, but there are going to be things that play out as the week goes on that people are going to be very happy about, and I'm very confident in that.
Yeah, so let's talk about who Texas is currently looking at. We do know they've brought in probably the biggest name is Ian Gefford, the defensive lineman out of Arkansas. You bring another big guy. He's a good player, big body guy. Definitely going to be a rotation piece for Texas on that defensive line. It's a position that they have recruited well in the past. They continue to recruit well in the portal to be able to fill that. So they get that one done. Seems like a perfect fit for what they kind of need. Not too big of a name that you're trying to, take away from Hero Canoe or Murad Watson or Alex January or any of those guys, or maybe even a Justice Terry some part. But somebody that you do need to get in to push the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a very, very big very, very big piece of this defense. And the reason is because he is a prototypical build for what Will Muschamp likes in his nose tackles. Very big space eater that can occupy blockers in front of them and let linebackers run free. And he plays a different position than Hero Kanu and Murad Watson and Alex January. He'll be the other defensive tackle, while those three will kind of rotate at the other spot. And I think they're going to bring in another bigger guy that we'll talk about here in a second. But he's going to be a very, very big part of being an anchor of this defense in the middle, and just a giant immovable space eater, which is, I mean, he's like 390 pounds, I think, or 385 pounds or something like that. Just absolutely massive human being.
And then they end up getting their special teams starting to get figured out as well, which is there's 12 ads on my page. So I'm trying to pull up names because I don't remember names for special teamers. I'm trying to be like Urban Meyer and not remember kickers' names. But it's Spedic.
Gianni Spedic, yeah.
The kicker from Memphis. You also get Florida State punter. Do you got a pronunciation of this name?
I don't. I'm not going to try. Chimento, something like that.
We'll go with. And then Dubuck, a long snapper as well. So trying to shore up some of the stuff on special teams, going out and getting those guys as well, additions that we've brought in.
Yeah, I mean, they're important because you're losing Bouwmeester and Mason Shipley. You're bringing in a punter that, and I'm not going to sit down here and act like I'm a punter expert, but he's got, a very good clip of downing punts inside the 20. He gets more hang time than Jack Bouwmeester, so that'll be good for covering punts. And you're getting a kicker with a big leg, which I think is important. He wasn't the most accurate kicker in the world necessarily. I think he was like 75% last year, but he does have a big leg, which will help you in the kickoff game as well, getting the ball out of the end zone and that kind of thing. And then you always need to have a good long snapper. That can be disastrous if you don't have the right person at that position. You can make a lot of mistakes. So I'm happy with all of it. It's like I said, not the most exciting start in the world when you get three specialists and a defensive tackle, but they are important positions that they needed to shore up.
No, and then the disappointing start was that is being reported Isaac Brown was predicted to go to Texas, the running back, probably the top running back at the time in the portal. He would not be over it.
We have some breaking news. Texas has another portal commitment.
Okay.
Michael Massoon, tight end out of Michigan State, has committed to the Texas Longhorns.
Okay.
He just posted it on Twitter. This is not going to be a Jack Endries or a Gunnar Helm. This is going to be a big, mean, in-blocking tight end that is going to maul you at the point of attack. He's going to be a very, very good complement to Nick Townsend. And when they run that 12 personnel, I think you can have a lot more confidence they're going to be able to get some better blocking from that position. So I think that's a big pickup. That's another position that they needed to fill, was a blocking tight end. And I think that he fills that very well. And I'm going to publish that story on my website right now, Patrick, while you're talking.
So, yes. No, it's good. Texas gets another commitment there from another blocking tight end. The guys that so these are guys more that want to come play part of a system, believe that they could be part of something special. You're getting some of those guys coming in right now, and you're matching the money that you need to for them. So you are doing it in one sense. It is just those bigger name guys in some of the positions where there is a lot of people that are coming through there that you're going to have to try and figure out what you want to do with. What I was saying before, though, was Louisville running back Isaac Brown was in the portal. He was the top-ranked running back in the portal at the time, at the beginning of the portal. He was projected to come to Texas. Crystal balls were going that way. Everything looked like he was going to come to Texas, and then reverses course over the weekend and agrees to return to Louisville. So he had, 4 days ago or so, had said he was entering the portal, got in, and then got back out. So Isaac Brown not coming to Texas, which was a piece that you would have said, okay, I feel pretty good. This is a really good running back. He could do a lot of things. Could be a little bit more of a bowling ball for Texas than they've had in the past. Really good player. He is now not coming, so you have to go back in the drawing board. and that's where you start to look at some other running backs in the portal. But yeah, and he never actually entered the portal. He announced he was going to enter the portal. Then that puts him in the range, and then everyone says he's going to Texas, and then he goes back to Louisville. They either get the money right or whatever convince him to come back, and he goes back to, which is his prerogative to do. But it was a piece that on Friday it was reported that he was going to be leaning that way. So that was another disappointing factor of the beginning of the portal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's disappointing, but it's hard to put a lot of hope in a guy who has not entered it yet. And I didn't want everybody to get their hopes up on him, because Louisville has done a very good job of holding on to players via the portal. It's not the first time Texas has wanted a Louisville player that has ended up staying at Louisville. And they're going to pay him a lot of money to be a very key part of their team, and they'd convinced him to stay home. And that's a big win for them. But there are other players out there. He and Rayleigh Brown are very comparable when it comes to traits. So it might not end up being the biggest loss in the world. But obviously it would have been nice to have him. It would have gotten things off to a shotgun start, and everybody would have been happy about it. But there's still plenty of options out there for that one.
Yeah. So let's start going in, Matt, to some names that you've been hearing and that have been going around for Texas that you maybe feel good about or are looking at or think would be good fits, wherever you want to start.
Well, I think that we should start at the defensive tackle position.
Okay.
Zion Williams, the defensive tackle, he's a freshman defensive tackle from LSU, entered the portal. Texas was in on him when he was coming out of high school. He ended up signing with LSU due to Bo Davis. Bo Davis obviously leaves, and he makes a new decision to enter the portal. He's another big nose tackle, young developmental one that they can put behind Gaffrard alongside Josiah Sharma to develop for the long term, but he's extremely talented. He's expected to take a visit to Texas this week, and Texas will feel very, very good about where they stand with him. He's a guy that I'm really keeping my eye on. Cade Uvale, I'm mispronouncing his last name, but I can never pronounce these. Uvale out of Cal, first team All ACC linebacker, one of the best linebackers in the country, over 100 combined tackles this year. He's one of the most dynamic playmakers on defense in the ACC. He's looking for a new opportunity. Cal is going to try to hold on to him as well. But I think that, the relationship that Justin Wilcox over at Cal has with Steve Sarkisian, if Uvale enters, does indeed decide to go somewhere else and not go back to Cal, I think Texas will have a leg up in that conversation. If you're talking about linebackers that could be an ideal replacement for Anthony Hill, he is certainly one of them, and he would give Texas one of the most talented defenses in the country just by adding him to the roster. Jaden Woods, another guy, Florida, developmental edge, but extremely talented. Texas is very in on that conversation. They are very, very, many people are very, very excited about what he could develop into. I believe he's going to visit Texas A&M as well. I think he was in Texas over the weekend. Bo Masco, a corner out of Rutgers. Mike Orphy knows him very, very well, or Mark Orphy knows him very, very well. He was an all Big Ten guy as well. He could come in and make a major impact in terms of a depth and experience type of corner, and I think that would be great. I know Edwin Joseph visited, the safety out of Florida State, visited over the weekend. I don't know that he's going to be a Texas take or not, especially depending on what they do with Derek Williams, whether or not he decides to return. And I'm trying to think if there was another defensive guy that I had my eye on. Oh yeah, Quay Rousseau out of Alabama. He was a 5-star player. He's an edge. He was a freshman at Alabama this season. He's entering the portal. I do expect Texas to be in on him and be very heavy in that conversation with him. And those are all really, really exciting, really talented players that you could add to your roster that can make an impact from day one. So, and it was the Wisconsin linebacker. I forget his name off the top of my head. I'll have to find it real quick. But he's also visiting Texas right now. That's a good shout in the chat there. Not necessarily Uvalale in terms of production and talent, but he's a very, very good, solid player, and they need to add multiple pieces at the linebacker position, so he is one to keep an eye on as well.
Is that Kamara?
No. I'll find his name real quick. Give me one sec. I got so many names flying at me that I forget some of them here. Christian Allegro. Christian Allegro. Yeah.
Okay.
Out of Wisconsin. He's a good player. I mean, he's like I said, he's not Uvalale, but he had 32 solo tackles. I'm pulling up his full stat line. 49 total tackles, 32 solo tackles, 17 assists, 1 pass deflection, 4 sacks, 6'4", 245 pounds out of Connecticut. He's a good player. So that's another one to keep an eye on as well if you're the Longhorns. And,
yeah, and I mean, I think too, it is, you always got to remember too, that is the 105 scholarships now you can afford this season, especially because you'll try and get some more of those guys as recruits next season, but you can afford a little bit more to go out and go, let's add a little bit more depth in that linebacker room if we're not sure. So we can go out and get somebody who may not be an every down player, but we can go try and get somebody and give them an opportunity to compete, which is the same thing they're going to have at their current place.
Yeah, and then also the UTSA defensive tackle Kenny Ozuwalu is also visited over the weekend. He's a defensive tackle, kind of more in the Hero Canoe, Alex January mold, where he's going to be more of the not the nose tackle, but the defensive tackle. I expect Texas to be very heavy in that conversation as well. I mean, they're trying to sort of add a lot of depth and talent to this already really good defensive line.
Yeah,
and adding some guys that fit the Will Muschamp mold, and he's certainly one of those guys as well.
No, I mean, because this is the reality of the game today is trying to figure out what depth is in 2026 in college football, because people get mad at Georgia now or Alabama or anybody else saying that you guys aren't doing what you were 5-10 years ago, and then the Nick Saban models, people keep trying to get that, and you're like, it's never going to exist again, or at least not in the modern era. It could, depending on what the rule changes are. Right now, there's just not, like, you can't stack. Your twos are never going to be probably so much better than everybody else's ones. And that's the way Alabama was. And that's the way Georgia was for a while. That their backup defensive linemen were guys who were going to be first-round NFL picks. And it was ridiculous, the amount of wealth of talent that they had. That's not really going to be the case anymore. So now you have to be able to fill your roster. And how do we find, the diamond in the rough that becomes the guy that is our backup, who's also really, really good? And with 105 scholarships, you can cast a little bit wider of a net now and try and get some guys that have certain skills that you think you can use in the right situations to try and get yourself into, if you do have an injury and have to figure it out for a week or two, or, if something's not going well and you go up against a team that just has one thing. So if you play a team that runs the ball nonstop, well, I need some more run stoppers. And then if you play a team that throws all the time, I need some DTs who can go and get penetration and collapse a pocket. I need a bum rusher that's literally just going to try and push his guys backwards. And then I need a guy who's got some moves, and you're just trying to do that. And none of them are going to be complete players, but with 105 scholarships, you can add a couple more guys at those positions on the defense for sure for Muschamp to have a fighting chance in his first year to put together something really special.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important that you find players that fit, particularly on defense. You find players that fit what Will Muschamp is trying to do, maybe a little bit better than some of these other players that are departing would have, like Leon Golafau. He's not exactly the prototypical middle linebacker that would thrive in a Will Muschamp defense. So you try to bring in somebody who fits that a little bit better. You try to bring in a safety that can play free safety a little bit more like Will Muschamp likes to play it. You try to find corners that are a little bit better in press man coverage and those kinds of things. I think they already have a couple of those guys that Will Muschamp will really like, but that's just kind of what I'm talking about here, is finding guys that fit your new system.
Yeah.
And on offense, that remains the same in terms of we need to find guys. If we're Texas, we need to find guys that are more physical up front along the offensive line, like the two Michigan guys that they brought in for visits, Guanera and Sprague, I think would be excellent additions to what they're trying to do. Particularly the Guanera, the guard, would be a amazing pickup for them. He's extremely tough, extremely physical. He can move people, which is something that Texas obviously really struggled to do for a large part of the season. Sprague would come in and play right tackle, so then that would probably push Brandon Baker inside to guard, which would be an interesting fit. But he's good enough, I think they can make that work. At running back, I still think that you're taking two. I don't think it's going to be a one-person deal. Raleek Brown is a guy that I would be very interested in if I'm Texas. Obviously, Jaden Baugh is the home run that everybody wants. He's still yet to enter the portal, but if he doesn't, maybe there's still a guy out there who hasn't entered the portal yet that could enter the portal. And I know people are going to say LSU running back, they couldn't run the football, but Caden Durham, I think, would be an excellent pickup for this football team. He's tough and he's physical. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he can run through tackles and he's fast. He's quick. He's he's what you would want Trey Wisner to be.
Okay.
In terms of skill set and traits. But he's just more athletic. I'm not going to say tougher because I think tougher is more of a mentality, but I think that he's more physical and he's got more top end speed. He's extremely fast. So those are a couple of guys that I would look at there that I'd be very interested in. And then there's going to be more offensive line that they talk to. There has to be. I haven't heard a ton of names yet, but we'll have to see how that all plays out. There's still a lot left to play out here if you're the Longhorns, which is why I'm preaching patience.
No, and like the Raleek Brown one is interesting to me still. I like, because I think he's a good second back. And I know he's 1,000-yard rusher and everything else. The 4 touchdowns scares the crap out of me. Because again, like last 5 seasons, we've talked about Texas not being able to score in the red zone, and it was a little bit better this year, but still, like, you have to be able to get the short yardage gains, and that's not necessarily his game as much. And so you have to find somebody that was supposed to be CJ Baxter this year. You need to find somebody who can be just push the pile. Just when you're playing some of these good teams, get you 4 or 5 yards, because you love to have guys that can be game changers. And I think Raleek Brown can be a game changer, but you need to have the other consistent part of it too. So when you are just trying to run the clock out and just trying to move the ball and just trying to get yourself in positions to be not in 3rd and longs, that's the guy. And that's what Jaden Baugh. That's the Jaden Baugh. That's why we all want him, is because we watched him do it against us, and he did a bunch of other teams to put them in 2nd and shorts, just pushing a pile and pushing and falling forward and getting 6 yards on 1st down. That guy is who I'm still really, really looking for. And I thought Brown was a little bit more of that I think Isaac Brown was a little bit more like that than Raleek Brown. Is it Isaac? I'm the names I'm terrible with. it's too much to talk about him for one day and then forget about him again. But I think Raleek Brown, so I think he's a good addition if they're able to get him. But again, if you add Raleek Brown, you still have to definitely add a second running back.
Oh yeah, for sure. You need that power dynamic to your game, and that's what CJ Baxter was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And the reason that they're letting him walk is because he wasn't the same player. And you need to find a player like Jaden Baugh or like one of these other power backs that are in the portal that can come in and give you that type of thunder to the lightning that could be Raleek Brown or someone else. Jaden Baugh obviously is the one that everybody is watching, like we just said, and he is kind of what CJ Baxter should have developed into had he stayed healthy. So if you can get him, I think Sark would be on cloud 9. But Florida feels good that they're going to keep him. Texas feels good that they're going to be able to lure him away. It all just depends what he wants to do with his future, and Texas fans are going to be waiting on pins and needles until that decision comes through.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a long week into next week with the portal for sure, as it's never feels like it's going to be enough. I don't know how many players will be enough, because like offensive line, if you get 3, then everyone's going to be like, can we get a 4th though? Can we get a 5th? So it is going to be a pressure for Texas to keep delivering on these names. But yeah, I mean, I think offensively, Matt, if we're looking at really it's offensive line and running back for me, that it's like those are of dire need now, because you let DeAndre Moore go and you let Parker Livingston go. You do need to fill up the wide receiver room again. But I don't really have a doubt they could find guys that will be good additions, especially with the young players they have. I'm not as worried. Again, if you get Cam Coleman, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. That's awesome. But they've done a really good job of finding guys out of that portal over and over and over again. And again, like an Emmett Mosley is a perfect example. And I know he was in the second portal, but Emmett Mosley is a guy that you were able to bring in who was a perfect fit for what Sark wanted to do. And it came in and just continued to get better throughout the season. So I think wide receiver wise, I trust them pretty thoroughly that there will be so many wide receivers in this portal. There's so many guys out there that you'll be able to find some guys that come in and fit what you need them to do. But offensive line wise, you can't miss, and running back ways, you can't miss, because we've watched it with some teams in the playoffs this year. They could not consistently run the football, and they're not in the playoffs anymore. And then you look at like a Miami who is the least talented team left in the playoffs, but they got a running back. And it's kept them in every game, and they're continuing to play. So I know it's a simplified version of it. I think Texas still has a great shot to bring in some good running backs and good offensive linemen, because no one else is really signing them all up. It's not like we're missing out on them right now. Like same thing with Cam Coleman. We haven't missed out on anybody yet, really. Quarterbacks are starting to go, but that was in the market we were in. So I'm not overly worried about it in that sense. It's more that I know how many people are freaking out trying to go for them across college football, and you have to be able to go win those battles.
Yeah, and I think that they will win a lot of battles. Texas wins a lot of recruiting battles, whether it's with transfer portal players or recruits, which is why they're always ranked so high in recruiting. But I also kind of liken this to not this past summer, but the summer before. During Texas recruiting, everybody was freaking out because Texas was ranked like 15th in recruiting, and it seemed like they weren't really making any headway, and they were losing out on guys left and right, and everybody was like, oh my God, Sark's getting cooked. And then I think you and I were we on the show at that point? I can't remember if it was that summer or not, but I feel like it was. No, it couldn't have been. I guess it wasn't. But regardless, I was preaching to a lot of people, at least on Texas Longhorns on SI. Let Sark cook.
But that's every year,
yeah. Just let him cook. And then what ends up happening? They get the number 1 recruiting class in the country. So I think that patience is a virtue in this situation. And I understand the nervousness when it comes to some of these key positions, like running back, for example, because you let a former 1,000-yard SEC rusher go. But I can guarantee you they have a plan there. I can guarantee it. And they're not just going to let it go like, oh, well, we didn't want to pay XYZ, so we're just going to roll into the season with Christian Clark and Derek Cooper. They're going to have a plan. They're going to execute that plan, and they're going to get some guys that are better than what they had before, and they're going to have a better running game, and they're going to have a better offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reality of why it's frightening, or it's playing the stock market, it's gambling, it's what it is. Because anytime you let a known commodity go for the unknown commodity, there's a level of risk. And so, there was risk running it back with what you had and, trying to add a couple pieces, but keep your own guys. There's risk in that as well. But the risk of ending up with nothing or ending up with something worse is still there. It's probably a 10 to 20% chance, but there's a 10 to 20% chance that you downgrade because you waited or because you let something go. It's just there. It's a chance that you misjudged the market. You had somebody lined up and that dude lied to you, or that dude took something else. Happens. and then you kind of are behind the 8 ball trying to go steal somebody from somebody else now who's already, you know, they're already locked in that they're going to LSU, or they're locked in that they're going to Tech, or they're locked in they're going somewhere like that, and then you got to go try and convince them to come back in. So that's the concern. Is you're right. You have to let these things play out, and you have to trust the people that are doing them. It's nerve-wracking. The good news is the other shoe has not dropped yet, which is when we start to see some of these big names start coming off the board. Because once they do, we know it's going to start going faster and faster and faster throughout. Now, there's still names that are going to go in the portal because somebody will sign somebody and then that'll knock somebody else out. But you'd prefer to not be on the one of getting somebody else's leftovers. You'd like to be getting the guy that's the best. So I'm with you, man. I think you're dead on with what you're saying. I just have less. I'm more concerned about the playing field that it is. It's not what Sark knows is what's happening, not what, you know, Brandon, the staff and everybody putting it together for Texas right now. I'm not as concerned about their plan as much as the playing field, because it is the Wild West, and there are agents who are going to lie, and there are kids who are going to change their minds, and there are other teams who are going to do crazy things. And and Rodney, I agree with you. Can we have any more Smiths and Jones? Isaac Brown was a great one. Could say both of his names. Was a big fan of it.
Hey, think about guys like me who have to write those names every day.
No, I am with you, Rodney. But no, it's so that's the only concern is it's there, and but we're not there. We're not there yet. It's still very early in the game, and it wasn't the flurry. So there's a flurry of visits, conversations, everything else. The flurry of commitments has not happened yet.
No, and sorry, I'm just answering a thing about the portal. Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. And the good news is we got 11 more days for it to happen.
Yep.
So there are some names that I'm watching closer than other ones that I think could pop at any moment, which is why I have like 17 stories in the hopper for when they do, and I'll get super flustered and during the show, and you'll not understand why, and then we'll tell you why momentarily. But I think that if Sark has kind of two ways he can go about this, right? He can take his time, he can be deliberate, he can make sure that he's getting the guys that he wants, or he can try and make the fan base happy and overpay. And I think that generally speaking, the first way of doing things is the right way to do things. But I would like to see, just for the sake of Texas fans over the next 24 hours or so, for one of these big names at a key position to hit.
Yeah.
Whether it's Cam Coleman or a running back or one of these Michigan offensive linemen potentially. I think that would be something that would collectively for Texas fans just be okay, we got a guard. We're good. We can feel good now about what's happening. But it's going to be tough because these players are really good and they're in the portal getting a ton of money thrown at them. So they have decisions to make of their own. It's not just all on, Steve Sarkisian to be like, okay, here's your check. And then the player commits. It's, these kids are going through really tough decisions, and it's hard to just be like, okay, I'm going into next year. My NFL future is in this guy's hands. Is this where I'm sure I want to end up? So, you can't fault the kids for taking a little bit more time and seeing what else is out there. But I think Texas has a really good pitch for all these guys, and I think that people are going to be more than happy when it all comes around.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about, and like a guy like Cam Coleman, I mean, unless he goes to Alabama, is leaving a state he's lived in pretty much his whole life, right? He was an Alabama kid. That's why he went to Auburn. He was looking at Texas A&M before then. So I think that, you have to make those decisions are not easy. You have to decide, I'm going to be away from people that have been around. I'm changing up where I'm going. And do I want to be around these people? Do I want to be in this city? There's a lot of that goes into it. And Burn Orange fandom, that's what we were just talking about. I don't think we're behind the 8 ball at all. We're not behind the 8 ball because we haven't seen a run on any position. The only position that's starting to get more flushed out is quarterback, which we were not in the market for. So that's the only one that if you didn't have a quarterback already, now you're starting to get a little more freaked out because you're starting to get into, all right, some of these names, if we don't get Leave It, where are we going to be? And like, I may have to pretend that I really want DJ Lagway. That's a conversation that we're at. So other than that, that's the only position that I've seen that's really been like at a top level, really starting to go. Now there's players from every position going. Some of these are guys following their coaches. So you'll see like Oklahoma State's got a couple guys already. They're following their coach.
Yeah. Virginia Tech's another one.
Penn State's going to get a lot of guys because a lot of Iowa State guys are going to follow Matt Campbell. So you'll see some of that where it looks like they're winning a lot of battles in the transfer portal, but these were decisions that were made as soon as the coach was hired. So they're not necessarily as big.
Yeah, I mean, quarterback's always the position that goes first in place in the transfer portal. Like, props to Texas Tech for throwing $5 million at a quarterback who's okay. Congratulations, you have the first big domino. Okay, who's the real best quarterback in the transfer portal? Probably Sam Leavitt. He's still making a decision because he's choosing between LSU and Kentucky and maybe somewhere else. DJ Lagway, still making a decision. I hear he's blown away by Florida State because they've got Gus Malzahn, and he comped him to Cam Newton. But like until those big ones where all the big money negotiations are happening really take place, you're going to see smaller guys in terms of, not smaller in terms of stature, but smaller in terms of money and commitment and intrigue.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little bit longer for the big guys to drop, whereas these guys, like, no disrespect, but Trey Wisner is not the best guy in the transfer portal. And there's been some good players that have gone, like A&M got a really good safety in Tafweek Byard.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Sorsby is a joke. I just think that he's being overrated in terms of the transfer portal and the intrigue that has surrounded his name. I watched him play very okay football over the course of the end of the season.
Yeah.
So once that stuff starts to happen, I think you'll start to see a lot more things drop. And I think that in terms of a player like Cam Coleman, like, he's got an NFL agent. David Mulligetta is his agent. He's not pushing him into making a decision based on money.
No. Well, and he's
pushing him into making a decision based on what's best for his NFL future. And that kind of decision takes a little bit more time than, they threw $6 million at you, you better jump on it.
No, exactly. No, and Mulligetta understands, he's actually breaking everything down and doing it in a very professional way. So, we're definitely not behind the eight ball. And this is the point I made earlier when we were talking, was Matt's level of confidence in the transfer portal is the same as it was on Friday. Mine is the same as it was on Friday. They're different levels, but they're the exact same level that it was on Friday. Neither one of us has thought it's worse. I'm more anxious, sure, but that's only because of time. That is not my belief in things turning out the right way. But because I was anxious on Friday. That's more of the piece.
And I think that people just really want to see balls start to drop.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, no, that's why you want Cam Coleman. Too many drop balls.
Yes. But what I mean is, there's so much fanfare heading into the transfer portal that it's going to be the craziest transfer portal in the history of the transfer portal. And then you get there, and the majority of the things that are happening are North Texas players going to Oklahoma State, Iowa State players going to Penn State, and Penn State players going to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And there's a few other pieces here and there, but people are just waiting for, like, when's the big thing supposed to happen? And it's just creating a bunch of anxiousness among a bunch of fan bases. I mean, think about how Florida feels right now. They still don't know if their best player is coming back next year. They want him to just commit to their program again, and they're freaking out about it. And then everybody else in the country wants this guy and that guy or the other. So, plenty more time to go in this thing.
Plenty more time. Texas did get another commitment during our show. Michael Masunis, a tight end for you that is going to be a force to block for Texas. So you do get one of those in. We'll come back here. We're going to take our first break. We'll come back. We'll continue talking a little bit more about the portal, talk about where some of the guys that Texas were on Texas last year, where they're looking, and how that is going so far for where those guys end up, because you kind of want to see, like, we'll talk about it, but there's reasons to care about where Texas players end up in the portal as well. Just is a weird thing, but it matters about your image. So we'll talk about that as well. Get into it. We'll talk about Texas basketball as much as I don't want to. And then also the NFL right now wrapped up yesterday evening. We now have our playoffs set, so we can look forward to what the playoffs will look like. We'll do with that. We hope you hang with us and bring in your questions. We always try to keep you in the conversation. We love talking with you guys in the chat, so we'll keep doing that here on a Monday edition of Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
At Sleep Cycle Center, we can treat your sleep apnea in various ways. My story starts 15 years ago with the loss of my father to undiagnosed untreated sleep apnea. And this is a very preventable disease, and treatment options are various. Millions of people across America have sleep apnea, and they fail to realize the early warning signs. Fatigue, daytime sleepiness, and snoring are the most common signs. We'll find the best solution using advanced technology, oral and epigenetic appliances, or CPAP. We offer weight loss, oral surgery, and laser treatments. Schedule your appointment today and get your sleep evaluation.
If you're looking to remodel a kitchen, renovate your bathroom, or maybe add some new life to your outdoor space, reach out to our friends at McCall Custom Homes. They are custom home builders and renovators here in Central Texas, and they've been doing it in Central Texas for more than 40 years. It's a father-son team with a ton of experience, and all of that experience is here in the Austin area. So they know what it takes to turn an Austin area home into something truly, truly special. Right now, our friends at McCall Custom Homes are offering free estimates to TSU listeners so they can come out to your place, hear your vision, they can tell you what they can do, and then you can go from there. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their website, McCallCustomHomesATX.com. Look at the gallery of jobs they've done over the last 4 decades. And then when you're ready, again, reach out to them and they will come to you. McCallCustomHomesATX.com, or you can call or text Mike McCall directly at 512-633-9580. It's McCall Custom Homes. We build value into your home.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations, and all of us at Audiovisual would like to wish you and your family a happy holiday season. This time of year can get a little hectic, so we want to remind you to relax, enjoy the season with your family and friends, and give us a call at 512-255-8678 for all of your home entertainment needs. This is my favorite time of the year. I love the holidays, the music, the decorations, the presents, the whole darn thing. So this year I'm asking all you listeners to help make this a special holiday for everyone. Smiles are contagious and free, so let's give them away like the government gives away your money. Let's high-five strangers on the street. Hold the door for people behind us. Tip your servers more than they've ever been tipped before. Give to a charity, or hell, give to a bunch of charities. If someone does a good job, tell them they did a good job. Pat someone on the butt. Sing in public places just because it feels good. And as always, hug your kids until they beg you to stop. Watch some games with your friends and make love to your wife or your husband. I know there's some women listening too. You can still give us a call at 512-255-8678 if you'd like to get some cool electronics. But more importantly, have a great holiday season and a fucking awesome next year.
Welcome back to Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. And of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Text line's open, 512-222-9328. And of course, over there on the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on a Monday afternoon. The portal is still running. And everyone's hoping that it runs faster, but in the right direction and all of that as we see it going. Texas did get the addition of another player during the game. Michael Masunas committed to Texas. He's got a few catches. He had 3 touchdowns this season. He can catch the ball, but used a ton as an inline tight end, a blocking tight end, someone to help you move the ball. Again, trying to get that run game going a little bit better than it was this season. So definitely not another Jack Indries replacement, but a guy that maybe in the sense that Spencer Shannon wasn't what you wanted him to be as much, then Michael Masunas is that type of guy to maybe replace where Spencer Shannon was going to be your other side tight end a little bit more, your inline tight end. And that didn't necessarily work perfectly the way you want him to. So a guy who can break out sometimes, especially in the red zone, but not necessarily your every down, going out, breaking out. A lot of times sitting blocking, pass protection, run blocking, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, I really like Michael Masunis. He's better Spencer Shannon, I think. And that's no disrespect to Spencer Shannon, but this guy's just bigger and more powerful and more physical. He's had a little bit of production in the passing game. I believe he had 3 touchdown catches this year, a little over 300 yards. But that's not what you're bringing him in for. That's what Nick Townsend's for. That's what Jordan Washington's for. You're bringing this guy, and Amari Winston. You're bringing this guy in to be a physical, inline blocker that can help you in the running game. And that's kind of what they lacked this year at the tight end position, because they just didn't have that body, that type of guy on their roster. And now they've got it. So I feel a lot better about when they trot 12 personnel out there next season. Hopefully they're a little bit more dynamic when it comes to 12 personnel, and it's not such a trigger or not such a signal like, oh, they're running the football up the middle. Yeah. But we'll have to see how that goes. I really like this guy. I think he's going to be a really good addition to this team, and just another domino to fall for Texas until the big money starts to hit.
Yep, as it keeps going, and we understand. We want the big move as much as anybody, especially right before or right during our show would be preferable.
Preferably during the show.
If Sark get that done, if you could do it like right when we're about to come on the air, so we could just be ready for it, and then everybody tunes in. We just do that. If we could just get that done, Sark, we'll do that. I did want to touch before we move on to some other things here, Matt, in hour 2, about some of the names of players who are leaving Texas in the transfer portal, and where they're headed, because in the reality of long-term recruiting of high school players, of guys coming in and where they go, you want to be able to see where people leaving the program go. So you want to see going to the NFL draft. But outside of that, you also need to see where people are going. If a player goes to Texas and they transfer out, are they staying in the Power 4? Or are they going to the Group of 5, Group of 6? Are they going to that? Because you don't want to start to see, well, they're not developing your guys at all. Your guys are not going to other dangerous schools. They're not going to bigger areas. They're going to a lower level. So you want to keep your level of attrition still going to good schools, especially some of your top players. So what we've seen so far, Trey Wisner today announced his commitment to Florida State, which is another major program. I know they have been awful the last 2 seasons. They were really good to start the season, but awful really last 2 seasons. But Trey Wisner headed over to Florida State is a good pickup for them. We believe Leon Lafau is going to BYU, but that's kind of been the rumor the whole time. Not committed yet there. Jarrett Gibson has committed to Purdue, staying in the Power 4. Connor Stroh headed over to Kansas, staying in the Power 4. And then Caleb Chester, young guy, going to Arizona State, staying in the Power 4. So no one has had to, even some of the lower level guys who never made the field for Texas really are still all going and staying in the Power 4. I know that seems arbitrary to some points, but it does matter. You also want them to be visiting, like DeAndre Moore is visiting at Kentucky, another SEC school. He's been at Ohio State. We know that Parker Livingston has gone to Oklahoma, which is bothering a lot of people, that you're not allowed to go to the enemy. The whole Parker Livingston saga is a little bit confusing to people still.
Yeah, can I clear that up a little bit?
Yeah, go for
it. So I think that, and this is no fault to Parker. I think that what he said was true from a certain point of view. He came out and ostensibly said that, there wasn't like, I'm paraphrasing here because I don't have a statement in front of me, but basically saying, I wanted to be at Texas. They didn't want me here, and I'm moving on to a new opportunity. That's the way of college football now. That's not exactly what happened. So I don't want people to sit here and think that Texas just pushed out Parker Livingston because they didn't want to pay him. He was offered an NIL deal. He turned down that NIL deal and elected to enter the transfer portal. Texas didn't want to overpay him, and I don't think that they should have overpaid him. I think that if you're going to try and, upgrade at wide receiver, then, you can't overpay for your number 4 wide receiver. So that's why I think that all went down, and that's okay. Like Parker Livingston is going to go somewhere and he's going to be really good. We hope that it's not Oklahoma, not just so that we have to watch him on the Oklahoma, in the Cotton Bowl when they're playing Oklahoma, but also because we don't want to have him catching balls from John Mateer or trying to catch balls from John Mateer, because he wouldn't be a very good, quarterback to try to get you the football. Indiana is also on that list, and I think Indiana would be an awesome opportunity for him.
Yep.
He'd go to a national title contender. He'd be one of their best wide receivers. He's going to get a really good quarterback in Josh Hoover, who's going to Indiana next season. And that would be an ideal situation for him. But let's not sit here and act like Texas is just forcing players out because they're not, because they don't like them. Because that's not what happened with Parker Livingston at all.
No, so here's the actual quote, and this is the end of his statement, but it's never in a million years did I think I would be going into the portal looking for a new home. Some things are out of my control, such as the reality of the ever-changing landscape of college football. Emptied my tank every day for this great university, my teammates, and all the good folks of Texas. Grateful. So not taking a shot, but basically saying they didn't want me here anymore. And I understand the concept that if I was 20 years old, 21 years old, whatever Parker Livingston is, and I worked my butt off, got up, and then earned my spot as a starter on the team, thought I did okay, and then at the end of the season, they go, Parker, we're just letting you know, we'd love you to be here, but we're hoping you're not a starter next year because we want better players. I would understand that would take that as someone who wants to be really great as a shot. Like, you'll be able to compete again, but we're hope against hope that we get better players than you in the portal and you will not be a starter for us next year. That's the reality of what it is. And so I understand where he comes from, which is when I get told I'm a starter and then get told we don't want you to be a starter anymore, you can say, well, they don't want me here anymore. That's a message to me. You don't want me here. Is if you say, if you're benching me, basically, you're telling me you don't want me anymore. And I get he could stay and compete. I get that there was definitely NIL money on the table. It was not here's a $0 offer so you get out of here. But I think it was the same thing for Trey Wisner, where Trey Wisner, they walked in and they go, we're going to go try and get 2 more guys plus the young guys on the bench behind you. You're going to have to compete for your spot again. And you go, man, I was a 1,000-yard rusher, and then you didn't give me any help this year. What the hell do you want from me? Let me go somewhere where they at least want me. You don't want me. And so I get that when you're young and you're believing yourself and everything else. And once you feel you've proved yourself, it's frustrating to have to do it again. We all did in our careers when we were in our 20s, and we achieved something in our career and then got told it wasn't good enough. And it's heartbreaking. So I understand it completely of what that feels like when you're a kid or a young man, I should say. And you get that news. That is heartbreaking because you thought, me and Arch have a good thing going. I'm looking at the positives. I had a great time at the Citrus Bowl. I think everything's going peachy. And then I get told basically, man, we're trying to be better. And you came short a few times. And so that's a reality. That is the state of the game today. The way he phrased it did make it seem more that he was being pushed out the door, but it's how you feel about it. We've seen that in pro sports all the time, Matt, of a player gets basically sent down or knocked down a lot rung, and then they're like, trade me. If you don't want me here, trade me. And so we've seen that plenty of times in sports. It feels like this is kind of that. And for a young man, I get it, and I wish him the best. I'd prefer him not to be Oklahoma too, though, man.
Yeah, nobody wants to see him catching passes in Oklahoma. Hold on, sorry. I think Jeff Banks just retweeted me. Hell yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, look, it's a cutthroat business now, and that's just what it is. It's no longer the old days of college football where you sign a guy and he's here for 4 or 5 years and he's a hometown hero like Jordan Shipley. The days of the Jordan Shipley are gone because there's too much impatience. There's too much money being thrown around. These elite players are entering the portal, and if you don't keep up with the times, then you're going to fall behind. And Texas is just trying to stay ahead of the times. They offer him a very generous NIL deal that's not Cam Coleman level or anything like that, but they're like, hey, we want you to stay. We just we're going to bring in some guys that are going to have an opportunity to keep you off the field a little bit more, and you're not going to be the number one wide receiver in this offense ever.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because that's just the name of the college football game these days. It's more like the NFL than ever before. And it's going to continue to be that way until they put some clamps on it. And I don't think that they ever will.
Nope, I don't. I think it'll change way differently eventually, but not necessarily in the best way. But yeah, so we saw where some of those guys are going. And the Parker Livingston, I know people got up in arms in it because you take both sides of it. I've heard the same stuff you have, Matt, that it was like he was offered money. He was offered more money than you make right now, and he decided not to take it. I get it. Bet on yourself. When you're a young athlete, you have to so many times bet on yourself. If you try and be a hero for somebody else, it can come back to bite you. We've seen that happen too, where someone's been like, I'm staying to play, and then they get regulated to the bench, and then their hopes and dreams. Now, Parker Livingston may never be an NFL wide receiver, but he may.
He could.
He's borderline. He's a borderline, could be a guy who gets into the game, and then once he gets, all he needs to get a chance to be in a practice squad, and who knows, right? You get in the right place, the right time, and the right team, and who knows what can happen. So for him to go chase his dream, do that, man. You're young. Go chase your dreams. Would love to have him stay on the team for sure. Sad to see Arch Manning post sad faces on Instagram, but at the end of the day, those things happen. That is a business. It is why this transfer portal is so big for Texas, though, because you have set the line in the sand and said, we're letting go Trey Wisner, we're letting go DeAndre Moore, we're letting go of Parker Livingston. We're not negotiating on those because we want to negotiate with someone that we feel can be a bigger help for us and change what we're doing. It's a different tactic than they have used the last several years. And that's why when they take this different tactic and don't give you the immediate results, it's anxiety driving. Let's say that. I won't say it's bad or anything else, but it's anxiety driving. So with all that being said, we're gonna still believe in good things. It's still a long 11 days until the portal closes. So there's still a lot that could happen. There's still a lot of players who are not in the portal yet who will be in the portal. There's still another playoff game, 2 playoff games and 2 playoff teams that will be in the portal. And then hell, Ole Miss is going to have to deal with a lot on Saturday and Sunday. Well, they're in the national championship and they feel pretty good about it. But then their portal will still open up after the national championship. But we just said earlier, a lot of people follow their coaches. And so we know some Ole Miss players will follow to LSU. It just is what it is. People follow their coaches. That's who recruited them. That's who they want to go play for.
The good news is Trinidad Chambliss will not be one of those players.
No, but he may also not be staying at Ole Miss.
That's true, but at least he won't be at LSU.
No, Trinidad Chambliss did say today that he would be staying with Ole Miss if he gets the waiver okayed for another year of college football.
Yeah, and I think reports have come out also that Texas is in the conversation for a starting Ole Miss offensive lineman.
Yep.
Should he enter the portal? I'm not going to give that name because I don't want to ruin it. But if you get the 2 Michigan guys and you get that guy,
starting to feel good.
Real good.
Starting to feel good. Again, you want to grab from big places, have been trained well with good coaches, especially at positions like that where you just want to find people with really good coaches. So yes,
CB.
He's ready to come.
But yeah, back to the conversation about watching where players go and all that stuff. I'm really happy for a couple of these young guys that are going to get really good opportunity to prove what they're worth. Caleb Chester is going to have an excellent opportunity at Arizona State. That's a really good program, and he's going to come in and have an opportunity to compete early and often, which, given the way that the Texas cornerback depth chart is right now, I don't think he would have gotten at Texas. So you take the opportunity to go play and get a little bit of extra money and be a part of a really good program. And, the same isn't necessarily said for Aaron Butler because Oregon State isn't exactly the top program in America, but he will have an opportunity to go out there and be a difference maker and be a number 1 wide receiver type for them, which could be a springboard for him entering the portal again and going to a big time program, later on in the process. But he's going to have a really good opportunity. I don't know if Malik Murphy is going to stay there or not. I can't remember, and I haven't heard if he's entering the portal or what. But
how many years of eligibility does he have left?
I think he might have one. He might have one if he has any. I don't know if he's going to be there or not. I can't remember. But regardless, he's going to be a wide receiver 1 type opportunity there. And Nate Kibble is going to find somewhere to land. Connor Stroh ended up at Kansas, which is probably a lot better of a fit for him than being in the SEC. And there will be more guys that have entered the portal that'll find other places to land that'll be really good. So
yeah,
I'm happy for all the players that are finding good places to land, particularly Trey Wisner. Like, Florida State has a chance to be really good with Gus Malzahn as the offensive coordinator. They just got to find the right quarterback, and they got to figure a few things out. He's going to be a really good stabilizing presence for that offense, though, I think, and have an opportunity to succeed in the ACC, which is not as much of a grinded out physical league as the SEC is from a week to week basis. Now, Miami is one of those teams that is very physical and difficult to go up against, as Ohio State figured out over the last week. But for the most part, it's going to be a very friendly environment for him, I believe.
Yeah, no, it's a great landing spot for him, and excited to see that he is landing where he is. Yeah, and CB, none of us want Parker to end up in Norman. None of us want him to end up.
Hey, Ole Miss just got another portal commitment.
Oh yeah,
so Jaheim Otis out of Colorado, former Alabama commit, has committed to Ole Miss, defensive tackle. Love to see it.
There you go.
Got to tweet my shark real quick
before we move on to some NFL talk, and we'll keep talking portal. We're keeping our eye on it as well. If you guys got questions or whatever you want to talk about, we always try and keep up with you as well. But as my man Chan says on the text line, Texas men's basketball team is definitely anxiety driven as well. Yes, watching Texas men's basketball, terrible again. And this is a team that, I don't want to overstate things. They're going to win another game this year, but there's a world we don't win another basketball game this year. It's a real world we don't win another basketball game this year. Completely real. Because there's not enough good players on this team. And Sean Miller has not found a way to make most of them better. And so Texas has a lead against Mississippi State, but once again, foul problems get the best of them. Is Dalen Swain, who's doing everything for Texas offensively, 34 points for them, because they had to start playing them at the 4 because they just don't have power forwards. Once again, roster construction, not there. And it ends up that they give up the lead. Jordan Pope can't hit a shot late, giving Jordan Pope the ball when he's 9 points and he's not on, instead of going to a Tremont Mark who did have 20 points in the game, or even trying to get the ball to Modest, or trying to get the ball to anybody other than Jordan Pope, who wasn't hitting shots at the end. But all that stuff at the end for Sean Miller and this team right now, and I keep hearing, I don't know how Chris Ogden his name has not come up. I'm not saying fire Chris Ogden. I'm saying Chris Ogden cannot be the general manager next year and expect to be a good team. Clearly, I would get rid of every scout we have and start over, but we have to have better scouts. Whoever's building these teams, and has been for the last 3 or 4 years, or last 4 years, I'll say, which is Chris Ogden's been the GM. We've been back with Texas. We get players based on their upside, not the reality, not their consistent play. We get players based on upside. And it's a terrible way to get players in any sport. If they play great, then they're great. But consistently, we don't know what team is showing up for Texas. Defensively, there's players that can play defense for this team. There's players who can play offense. And apparently no one can do it on the same night. And Dalen Swain can play defense for a 3, but he's having no luck trying to guard big guys in the middle without fouling. So there's just so many ways to beat Texas and not enough ways for Texas to win. And this is, as much as we watched the last couple of years and RT got blamed for a lot of these things, roster construction sucked then. And our roster construction sucks now. So it's just frustrating. We play 3 ranked teams in a row now. I don't expect to even compete. I don't expect to be we're not covering the spread, I don't think, in any of these games, unless the spread's huge. I just don't really have any faith in this team right now. Like, they played decently, but this is a Mississippi State team you had to beat. And they just made too many bad decisions, gotten too many fouls. Sean Miller has a quote that, I don't know how many times you tell a kid to not run in the street. If you tell them over and over again, they run the street and then they go get hit by a bus, it's still your fault because they're your parent, because you're their parent. But, you told them a bunch of times. And I hate the quote because you're basically saying, I can't coach these kids. So quit. We'll go get another coach. We'll go hire RT again. He cares. He coached them last year. Don't give me that shit. It's such a BS answer from a coach. Oh, no, I told him to not foul. Cool. Teach him how to not foul. Or don't be a coach. But don't walk out with that and go, I'm telling him what to do. Yeah, it's coaching. It's hard. That's why you get paid millions of dollars. So I don't want to hear millions of dollars, oh, it's the kid's fault. Then get out. I don't want you here. I don't believe that's real. I think that he is trying. I think he is trying to coach these kids. But if that's his attitude, I'm telling him not to foul and they're still fouling, then I don't ever want to see him coach another game anywhere, any level of basketball, because that's a BS way to get out of it. Well, I told him not to foul. Cool. Teach him how to play defense then. Because if you're not doing that, what are you doing? It's every game he calls him out. Every game he calls him out. And they're not any better. I'm tired of it at this point. It's your job to fix this. You are a millionaire for coaching basketball. Millions of dollars. And you want to come out here and go, the players aren't learning enough. That's your one job, is to coach them up. So it's what did Mike Tomlin say? Run to coaching. I always love that quote. Right now, Sean Miller's running to the podium to tell people why it's not his fault we suck. And it's not completely. The roster construction's bad. But you know who should have helped build this roster? Sean Miller. I think Sean Miller still has a bright future at Texas. But if this is the attitude, then he doesn't. And he'll be gone in 2 years because he's just going to keep coming up and bitching and moaning every time. So I'm done with his bitching and moaning. He came out also and said, we don't have a power forward. So we're playing 4-on-5. Again, getting paid millions of dollars to figure this stuff out. And you don't care to do it. You care to walk out after and explain why it's not your fault. It's your fault. Now, I get you know the roster. I don't expect you, but you can't tell me every time these players are not playing well. They're playing worse than they played last season when I wasn't the coach. And Kendall Weaver is now an objectively worse player than he was a year ago. And Tremont Mark is roughly the same player he was a year ago. And Jordan Pope is the same player he was a year ago. But I'm the better coach, and I deserve the money.
Well, what do you want him to say?
I want him to say, I'm fixing this. I want him to fucking fix something. It's not complicated. But if you walk out and go, I tell them not to foul, I want him to go out there and I want him to bench players. Put in the backup scrubs then. I don't care. You have to do something. You can't play 8 players and tell me you don't have 8. I'm done with his every game blaming it on the players.
No, I get that for sure. I'm not saying that he should be saying that. What I'm saying is he first of all, I believe that he is trying to fix these things. I think he is coaching his butt off to try to fix them.
Of course he's trying to.
And I don't think that there's only so much you can do with what you currently have before you have to be like, we can't win with this. Now, do I want him to go out there and say, all the things that he said? No. I want him to fix it behind the scenes. And I totally agree with you when he shouldn't be saying this stuff. But I don't blame him for being frustrated, because I don't think that this is the roster that he necessarily envisioned when he took the job at the University of Texas. So maybe this is him just airing out his frustration, which, you can take whichever way you want. I tend to agree with Patrick. I don't think that it should be a thing that you go out on a nightly basis and just roast your players without roasting yourself. I think he should be taking a lot of the blame rather than putting it on his players and that kind of thing. But at a certain point, like your frustration does begin to boil over, and you have to say, like, look, we need to make changes here, and you need to let me build this roster with the players that I want, the way that I want to build it.
I agree.
And maybe by him doing this, he's kind of signaling to CDC or whoever it is that we need to make a change in our player, player development and player acquisition department so that I can do the things that I want to do here. And I don't think that he's necessarily going about it the right way, but I don't blame him for being as frustrated as he is, because if I'm a Texas basketball fan, I'm frustrated as hell because you blew what, a 19-point lead, was it? Or what was the lead they had against Mississippi? Or that was the women's team.
No,
What
yeah,
was
they
the
were
lead?
I think we had 7 with like a couple minutes to go in this.
Yeah,
game.
you blew a what should have been, I think you had a 94% chance or 93.7% chance or whatever to win that basketball game, and you ended up blowing it. And there were things that happened in that game, like Cam Heidi and I think Dalen Swain going for a rebound and they end up knocking it into the basket. Like things like that. That shouldn't happen. You can't put everything on the back of your players. Like you can't place all of the blame on your players when you're a head coach. It eventually starts to sow seeds of like, this guy's just throwing us under the bus. Why do we want to play for this guy? So I think that he has to go out there and take a lot more responsibility for what's happening, but he's also kind of handcuffed to a certain degree because he's got the players that he was given, and he brought in a couple of them himself. Like I'm sure that he had a say in some of the players that were brought in, but not all of them.
Yeah, but Dalen Swain fouled out. That's the guy. He brought Dalen Swain. That's his big guy he brought.
Yeah.
I mean, he brought Lucina Traore. He says we don't have a 4. It's Lucina Traore. So who he's yelling at is players he brought. We can't keep doing the same thing. He's talking about fouling because Dalen Swain fouled out with 1:42 and a 7-point lead. And then it goes to overtime. And it is because no one else is consistent enough to do anything on this offense. And then defensively, they just don't have the players to go into it. And I get that. That's my point is I don't want it to make it seem like Sean Miller shouldn't be the coach or Sean Miller can't turn Texas basketball into a program that is once again competing to go to the Sweet 16 every couple of years and be in that position. I think he can. But if he's going to treat everything like, well, I tried and it didn't work, then I'm done. Like that's why we're bad at it. That's why you're back at Xavier, because you don't seem to want it more than anybody else does. And I'm not saying he's not working hard, but it just doesn't feel like he wants it more. It feels like right now he's fine with being terrible and he's just frustrated at the end of the game. And it's extremely frustrating whenever I hear coaches say things like they won't listen, I can't do it. I'm like, then bench them. Who cares? We may not win another game this season, Matt. So I don't really care who plays at this point. I care that you have a team that is trying to play good basketball. And the fact that you're letting Jordan Pope play as much as he is, if he's going to be a complete mess and not play any defense and not really get you much going offensively, and he's still somehow playing 27 minutes in this game and Simeon Wilcher plays 26, I don't like that. I like Simeon Wilcher more. Plays, but tries harder to me. Also doesn't jack up so many I'm going to take a shots because the offense isn't really fixed at all. Because there's not enough good players on it. So I get it. It's a roster construction. I've said this before with Chris Ogden, the person I like. Chris Ogden, the general manager, was a friendly hire because he was friends with Chris Beard. That's why he's there. And he has proven over the last couple of years he is not qualified to be running the program. I don't know behind the scenes how much power he has and how much that's a fun title that they gave him and how much of that is him handling player development and player acquisition. But this is just unacceptable of what the roster construction has been of let's bring in these lower tier guys and let's bring in a Cam Heidi and not realize why Cam Heidi was sitting on the bench for Purdue year after year and they let him walk away. Why? Because they knew he doesn't get a shot up unless you get him a shot. And this team's not good enough to do that. So I'm not saying the future is dark. I'm saying the future this season is really, really dark. I heard Zay say they're an NIT team. I don't think they're an NIT team. Now, maybe they can turn it around. Maybe they figure it out. Maybe they stop running out in the street in front of the bus. Maybe they do. But right now, just the way they just uninspired play on the defensive end of the basketball court, and then just going, well, we can't stop anybody. And you're like, Mississippi State's not that good. We're going to have to play way better teams than them. And you couldn't stop them. Fouling 3-pointers, all this stuff. It's just frustrating basketball to watch. And this is what it's like when when I was watching the Spurs 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So they got better because they got more talent. And then, they learned the game and played better. But you watch Spurs 3-4 years ago, and it was just mind-numbing, some of the mistakes that they would make. And that's with a great coach. But they were just untalented, not enough talent on the team. A lot of guys trying to do bigger things than they can, and it's there. And CB, I don't think they're worse than that team. Talent-wise, they're definitely not worse than that team. But, I mean, they won't. Could they win 11 games this year? 100%. They could win 11 because they're 9-5 right now. And winning 2 more games in the SEC is completely possible for this Texas basketball team. They are not fun to watch. There's a lot of potential, and for some reason, our coach thinks the team's uncoachable. And that is extremely frustrating to me. Because either you didn't scout the players well, you didn't talk with anybody, you just came in and said, screw it, keep who we've got, and I'll figure it out. And then you realize you couldn't figure it out, or you're not good at scouting and you're not good at coaching. I don't think you're not good at coaching, but come on, man. Oh, what am I supposed to do? Teach them? Yes. You're not supposed to go, don't walk out in front of the bus. You're supposed to tell them why. You're supposed to show them how. You're supposed to tell them about buses and how they'll die in the street. But if you just tell a kid over and over again, don't walk in the street without a reason, they're going to walk in the damn street. So you have to be able to coach them, to teach them the responsible ways to do things. And just saying don't foul, and I know he's not. I know he's not sitting in a room and going, guys, don't foul, and then he walks off and smokes a cigarette. I don't think that's happening. But I do think he is consistently not punishing them for getting fouls and not punishing them properly to get it drilled in their head. You foul, you're on the bench. We'll lose the next 3 games. We're going to lose them anyway. Bench your players. Start to send a message, man. Try and turn this around. Give us some hope for what we're doing. But it's right now, he has 6 players. He has 6 players. And that's ridiculous that you can't get somebody else to play. You had Nick Cody. You gave up on Nick Cody already. Like, I don't get it. I don't get how he's just like giving up on half this roster. That doesn't seem like good coaching to me. But that also doesn't seem like good roster construction. So I'm just mad at both sides. I'm mad at everything.
I haven't seen Patrick this passionate about something in a long time.
I hate watching bad basketball, Matt. I really hate watching bad basketball.
That's why I don't watch college basketball, Patrick.
I really hate watching it. When you watch it, it's fun and you can get everything going, and they're going to get in some 3-point shooters and stuff. But that's a problem too, is like you're getting some young, good, decent players next year, but they're not. I mean, there's very few freshmen who make a real impact in college basketball, and we don't have any of them. So I'm hoping Austin Goosby's really good, and I hope Bo Ogden and all these kids. That's the other problem, is if you get rid of Chris Ogden, you're probably getting rid of Bo Ogden too. So there's all these other things at work, but if Bo Ogden's our best player.
That's why you don't fire Chris Ogden. You just give him a different role.
I know. They just give him there, or hire someone, get a president of basketball operations, put him above him. Like, get somebody who knows how to build a good roster, because that is what they're at right now. The fact they didn't go out and get people they needed to get, and I don't know if monetarily they've just been told, we don't care about Texas basketball. Here's $10 million, and they're competing just out of their element with money, but it's not good. Like, not good. What's up, Naman? Appreciate you. Look, Jay Knight, Royale Ivy would be a really fun coach, because he would coach defense really hard and really go after people, but I don't know. And CB, I don't want Chris Ogden fired. I just don't think that this job is for him. I think there's other things he could do for the University of Texas. General manager is not one of them. And he may not even be doing most of that stuff. He was literally given the title because he got hired by Chris Beard and he wasn't good enough to be on the assistant coaching staff. That's what happened. And I don't even know if he's not good. Chris Beard didn't want him on the assistant coaching staff. He hired other coaches and pushed Chris Beard off of the bench. That's what happened. And then they gave him the job to keep him around, because they basically told him to quit his other job to come here. That's what happened. So that's why I get upset about it, because I was there watching it all happen, and he kind of backed into being the general manager. And then when our roster construction has been bad for 3 to 4 years, you just go, well, I don't know. I'm not back there I'm not back in that room, but I can tell you when I look at it, there's a name and a title, and that title comes with roster construction. And that's what if we hire a coach and he says we have 6 players, what do you want me to think? That the GM did a good job? We got to fire Sean Miller and get a new coach? It's one or the other. Somebody screwed up.
Yeah. Somebody screwed up.
That's why it's frustrating. It's because somebody screwed up and it doesn't feel like there's any accountability whatsoever within this team right now. None from the players who won't play defense, none from the coaching staff who keeps saying that nope, the players just won't do it, and none from upper management to say, yeah, man, we didn't put together the roster. Where we fired RT because he didn't have a roster, but and the only reason we were competitive last year is because he had played or coached his dad, Trey Johnson's dad. So that's why we were competitive. So RT brought in Trey Johnson. That's the only reason.
Should have just paid Trey Johnson like $10 million to stay for one more year.
He went out so fast. And now, granted, he's on the Wizards now, so maybe he don't want to come back.
He's like, shit, I got to go to the Wizards. I might as well stay at Texas.
Oh man, no, I don't want to go. Maybe he'll be in that the Trey Young trade. Trey Young rumors that he is working for a trade right now and working with Atlanta to get a trade, and the Wizards are the front runners to try and trade for Trey Young.
There's no place I'd rather Trey Young end up than the Washington Wizards.
You mean the Oklahoma basketball GM? It's somewhat an honorary title for some of these guys, but they help with recruiting, so that's why they get to be there, because they help with recruiting and they help with NIL. Matt, a little bit of NFL talk before we get out of here. With the NFL playoffs set now, we do know what we'll be watching next weekend, and we can now get into what we think are some of our favorites here. In the AFC, the Broncos end up getting the bye with the number 1 seed, and that leaves the Jags and Bills in a really good first-round matchup. That game's going to be in Jacksonville, but the Bills are currently favored in that game. The punishment for winning that game is playing the Bills in round 1. That doesn't seem like the best thing, but that game's going to be a lot of fireworks between Trevor Lawrence, who has been playing really, really good football as of late, and Jacksonville's been playing really well, and a Buffalo team that hasn't been playing great, but just has so much more playoff experience.
Yeah, I'm holding on for dear life that Buffalo just absolutely destroys Jacksonville, because Jacksonville is just one of those teams that just feels like they don't deserve to be in the playoffs, even though they're 12-5 or 13-4 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they're one of those teams that like you should never be in the playoffs ever. You're gross, you're ugly, you're in a bad city, your quarterback's annoying. And I picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl before the year started, so I really try to hold on to that one as well. But I think that Josh Allen will do it. You know, I think he'll get the job done. As much as they were kind of inconsistent down the stretch, I feel like they're still one of the better teams in the NFL. So, I feel like they'll get it done at least.
We also get the Patriots and the Chargers in an interesting matchup there of two teams that I think people thought the Chargers were going to be a little bit better than they were this season, and no one had the Patriots being the 2 seed in the AFC. So a interesting matchup to see. I mean, the Patriots have just played well all season, but now you're in the playoffs. Can you continue on with what you're doing? So I'm excited to see that matchup and where the Patriots end up going. Of course, the seeds do reset, I believe, so there is no quite bracket for the NFL, so you don't know who your second round matchup would be. But the Patriots would, if they do win, would not have to play the Broncos. They would then end up playing the winner. If the Bills win, they would end up playing the Bills. So they would have to play the matchup again because that would be the 6th seed. The Jags win, they play the winner of the Texans and the Steelers. So the Patriots and Chargers, though, interesting matchup there, Matt, to see if Drake May and the hype is real once they get into the playoffs. They get a home game, though.
Yeah, I'm kind of pulling for this team to a certain extent because nobody believed in them to start the year, and I can't believe that the words are coming out of my mouth that I'm cheering for the Patriots. But it is a really cool story. I like Mike Vrabel a lot. Drake May has been really good this year. I think Matthew Stafford got his name back in the MVP lead, though, after this past week. I'm just saying, it's still there. But yeah, I mean, I'm very desperate for new blood in this whole thing.
Yeah,
like I don't like the last thing that I want to see is the Steelers getting there because I'm so tired of the Steelers. Like I want 4 teams in the conference finals that we haven't seen in the conference finals for a while. And that would also include the Patriots even though I'm pulling for them, I'm kind of like, yeah, just win one and then kind of go away. You know what I mean? But that's going to be a tough matchup. Justin Herbert's been playing well. The Chargers are a really good team. They're a bit inconsistent as well. And I don't want to take away anything that the Patriots have done this year because it's been really impressive to come back from being, one of the worst teams in the NFL to being the number 2 seed in the AFC. But they did play a 4th place schedule all year. So maybe they're a little bit inflated. They've beaten some good teams.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what they actually do when they get to the playoffs.
No, I'm excited to see it too. Drake May, though, Mac Brown guy. So, it's good in the plus there.
Yeah, but he's still a Patriot.
I know. I'm trying to give the positive. He's a Mac Brown guy. And then, the Texans do pick up a win in a game that was much harder than it needed to be. Their defense has not quite been as deadly as it was earlier in the season, just allowing some dumb plays to happen against them. Riley Leonard looked great against them in the game. And then Alec Pierce looked really good against him in the receiving until he got ejected from the game for touching an official, for complaining about. And it was one of those ones where I was like, even as a Texans fan, I was like, man, that sucks. That sucks that your season ends like that. He got went up for a pass, felt he got pushed out of the back of the end zone before the ball got there. And so he went over to talk to the official, trying to get a flag. And when he did it, he had his arm out and he touches him on the arm with his arm. And so the ref immediately throws a flag and they go over and talk. It feels like the refs are like, do we have to throw him out? And they're like, yep, that's the rule. Touch an official, immediate ejection. Like, you're automatically disqualified if you touch an official. So he ends up getting thrown out of the game, he had like 130 something yards at the time. So he had been playing really well. Texans end up winning though. So they keep that 5 seed and get to play. They have to go to Pittsburgh, but that is the matchup you kind of wanted to get into because you feel much better about playing them than the Jags or playing the Patriots. You feel much better about going and playing this Pittsburgh Steelers team that has some really serious flaws in it as well. DK Metcalf will be back for that game for the Steelers. He'll be done with his 2-game suspension, so they will get a wide receiver back. But now the Texans could be the team to officially put Aaron Rodgers out to pasture, or Aaron Rodgers can make another Texas fan base hate him forever.
Go Texans. God, I need the season to be over for Aaron Rodgers. I was keeping an eye on that game last night, and I was like, oh, thank God the Ravens did it. And then they missed that field goal, and it was so brutal. But
Justin Tucker would have hit it.
That's not the name that needs to be brought up in this conversation, okay? There's a reason that Justin Tucker wasn't there to kick that field goal. We all know what it was. Give me a break. But yeah, I mean, you couldn't have hoped for a better matchup if you're the Texans. I mean, that's the team in the AFC that's the most vulnerable. So,
do you think
Aaron Rodgers does scare you a little bit still because he's Aaron Rodgers? But
do you think JJ Watt is a little bit on the fence about this game?
No.
You think he's all Texans?
No.
You think he's going for his brother?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I would do.
No, I think he's going for the Texans. He's
Look,
a Texans guy.
Look, if I graduated from, okay, here's a good example. If I played football for Ole Miss and my brother played football for Texas, and then Texas was playing Ole Miss in the national championship game, I would want my brother to win a national championship.
No, I get that, but you're it's not the Texans, man. It's gonna no, I don't know, because they played against each other too, so it's always curious to see if you've got there's a mentality that's different in it. But I know that he is I know he was calling the Texans game on Saturday or Sunday and was not thrilled every time they would cut in with a break and and the Jags are up by 65 now on the Titans. You're like, okay, all right, I don't think we're winning the division.
Well, here's what I will say. He's going to have probably the easiest night of any person who's pulling for a game, because either his brother is going to advance in the playoffs or his team is going to advance. So he'll be all right either way. I'm not worried about JJ.
So that's on the AFC side of things. On the NFC side of things, the Seahawks get the bye and are now the betting favorites to win the Super Bowl. what a day for Pete Carroll, man. The Seahawks completely have rebounded past the Pete Carroll era, and Pete Carroll got fired after one season. Just really, it's really not a positive day for Pete Carroll and what his legacy is in the NFL. I think he's still great coach, great legacy, but the fact that the Seahawks have completely rebounded, they're the number one seed, betting favorites right now with Sam Darnold leading the way. Sam Darnold and Bo Nix, your one seed quarterbacks, Matt, which that is a change of pace for you right there. We get in the matchup, though. Panthers and Rams. Rams got to feel real good about that one, don't they, Matt?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, couldn't have picked a better matchup for me if I'm a Rams fan, which I am now. But
for one more seat for at least the end of this season.
For at least the end of this season, and then when 9 goes off and rides into the sunset after winning his MVP, I'm probably never going to watch the Rams again. But until then, they couldn't have gotten a better matchup. I mean, every other team in the NFC I would be afraid of if I'm the Rams. Maybe not the Packers without Micah Parsons, but this is definitely the best matchup they could have possibly asked for.
Yeah, the Panthers, who couldn't even win a game against the Bucks to just clinch it, they had to wait for the Falcons to beat the Saints to clinch their playoff division because they lost that game on Saturday to the Bucks. Now we get the Eagles and 49ers in that matchup as well. This feels like the 49ers are set up in a good place. Eagles team that really has not looked great all season long. Kyle Shanahan is clearly got the coaching advantage in this game, but this will be probably one of the more fun games that we watch. I think Eagles and 49ers of just two more been around teams, have consistently been in the playoffs and consistently been in the Super Bowl picture for the last 5, 7, 8 years, something like that, between those two teams. So that matchup is going to be a ton of fun as well. Watching the Eagles and the 49ers try and figure it out with Brock Purdy versus Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I'm go 49ers.
Anybody but the Eagles.
Anybody but the Eagles, man. Also, strike on the 49ers for whatever those jerseys were that they were wearing this weekend. How gross was that? You have the most classic jersey outside of the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers in the NFL. And you pull out those alternate BS gross jerseys. Shame on you, San Francisco. Shame on you.
Pulling out the alternate gross 49ers jersey. I'm trying to pull up a highlight, see if I can see.
They're like the all black or
yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. No, not a fan of those. No, they're regular jerseys, just too good. You don't need to ever change them. Finally, Bears and Packers. Ben Johnson trying to go in and make a name for himself, beating a Packers team that was thought to be a Super Bowl favorite early in the season, then kind of struggled a little bit. Then Micah Parsons' injury. Caleb Williams, can he get his first playoff win, is going to be the big story here. Packers, tons more experience, but Ben Johnson has just been killing it in his first year as a head coach.
Yeah, how bad do you want to see a Bears versus Patriots Super Bowl?
Ugh,
like two teams that nobody thought was going to be there. I think it would be cool.
I don't want the Patriots. I
don't, but at the same time, I think it would be a really cool story.
I'd be fine if Boston sports fans never won anything ever again.
Oh, of course.
They've won too much already.
You want the Bears to win that matchup, obviously.
Give it 30 years, and I'll be too old to care anymore. So do then. But come on, a little bit of time without Boston being good at some things. Come on, give us a little break for Boston sports. But yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting playoffs. I'm excited for it. Any clear favorites right now for you to win everything, or are you still just waiting? Is it just the Rams? Just Rams for you still?
I'm projecting a Rams-Bills Super Bowl.
Okay. That Bills-Jags is going to be tough. That's going to be a tough game. Jags, but Liam Cohen, great job. He's done a great job there in his first year.
I think that playoff experience matters in the NFL, which is why I don't think that the Patriots or the Jags really have a chance to get there. Same with the Bears. I think it matters when you get to the postseason, and the Rams and the Bills are two of the most experienced that there are. And it's also why I think the Eagles are going to last longer than people want them to.
Yeah, I'm all for Texans versus Panthers. I'm for Texans versus Panthers.
Yeah.
Come on, give us the easiest path we can take, man.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take our second break real quick, Matt. We come back, we'll wrap up the show. See if Matt can get any more transfers to come in the last 5 minutes of the show. Make some calls, Matt.
Ole Miss got one.
Ole Miss got one. We'll see if we get any more of that and get our meat ahead of the day and wrap things up here on a Monday edition of Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Hi, I'm Hayden Covert. Welcome to Covert Buick GMC of Bee Cave, your home in the Hill Country for new and pre-owned Buick and GMC vehicles. With beautiful inventory arriving daily, including the GMC Yukon, Sierra 1500, and Buick Enclave, you'll be certain to find the perfect vehicle at an incredible deal. Our service department is also open for all your vehicle maintenance needs. Visit us today for a test drive. Covert, born and raised in Austin. We are professional grade.
Altstadt Beer, the best beer that you can find all throughout the great state of Texas. Y'all know I've been a fan of Altstadt for years now, and if you try it, I think you will be too. If you've already tried it, you know exactly what I am talking about. Altstadt is brewed locally in Fredericksburg, but available all over the state of Texas. So if you're tuned in Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, it does not matter. You can find Altstadt at a local grocery store or liquor store. They've got a bunch of different brews, something for every beer drinker out there. The lager, the Kolsch, those are their two flagship beers, both award winners. They are fantastic. The Altstadt Light sacrifices on calories but does not sacrifice on the taste. They've got great pills, tons of great seasonals as well. I'm telling you, one sip and you won't go back to the other beers you've been drinking in the past. It is the official beer of BK. It should be the official beer of you as well. It's Altstadt Beer. No impurities, no regrets.
Hey y'all, I'm Camille McKay.
And I'm Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations.
The old man and I are here to give you your summer weather forecast. It's hot.
That's right, kid.
Which means it's time for pool parties, grilling burgers, and taking a beach vacation, right?
Well, I don't know about a vacation, but Audiovisual brings more heat than any tropical destination.
It was worth a shot. I'll settle for some outdoor speakers.
You know, Audiovisual can do a lot more than that. We provide outdoor video screens, audio systems, landscape lighting, even solar shades for your patio to keep the Texas heat at bay.
Well, I'm sold. Let's wrap this up. I'm ready to lounge on a floaty and listen to some smooth jazz.
Well, that sounds wonderful, but some smooth reggae is the way to go this summer.
Good thing we can listen to both with the Sonos sound system. I call dibs on the floaty, though. Peace out.
Kid, wait a second. Give us a call at 512-255-8678 or visit us at avconsultations.com. That's 512-255-8678.
Welcome back to Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Wrapping up here on the show. CJ Stroud does have some playoff appearances there. CJ Stroud's been around for a minute. They've made the playoffs. D'Amico Ryans has done a great job as a coach. He just hasn't, hired an offensive coordinator that could make CJ Stroud really good. It's almost like offensive coordinators matter in play calling. You'd be surprised. It's crazy. Like how Jared Goff was so good last year, and then suddenly it's Jared Goff's fault that he's bad now. Maybe, just maybe it was Ben Johnson. Maybe that the Bucks weren't as good this year because last year they had Dave Canales, who's in the playoffs, was coach for the Panthers, and Liam Cohen, then who's a coach for two division winners who used to be your coaches. Maybe that's why. Maybe it does matter to have play callers that can go in there and make your players look better. Matt, let's get to our meathead of the day. It's your buddy just hanging out at bars after winning the division title. Kill the music on that. That is Trevor Lawrence meeting a girl at a bar and then letting her squat him.
If I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm probably saying, Trevor, no. Like, what if she drops him and he gets hurt?
Yeah, I would also say those aren't great squats. Not great form on that.
Those are terrible squats.
But, she was probably holding a person, which is more difficult. And she also probably did not want to drop him on account of how angry Jacksonville would be at her if she had dropped their quarterback.
Yes.
But yeah, the types of things that NFL teams see and they're like, do not do that. Do not ever again. Don't do that. I know you're having fun, but don't do that. Not fun. No fun.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get out of here, Matt. Did you get another portal edition? You got
Not for Texas, but Ole Miss got one. Defensive tackle from Florida. And they're also projected to land Deuce Knight from Auburn.
Come on, man. Come on. All right, well, we got to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, more action in the portal before tomorrow. We will cover that and more when we get back tomorrow. But until then, be kind, be safe, keep your underwear clean, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow for more